everyone, and welcome to a special live spoiler review episode of the Geek Buddies as we tackle Zack Snyder's Justice League on HBO Max, the 4-hour opus from the
Geek Buddies.
Hey! Well, we can't thank you all enough for joining us here as we're going to get into it and get bone deep on Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4-hour opus from HBO Max. As I just mentioned here, so many comments, so many reviews, so many points of views being thrown about on social media already. Rotten Tomatoes, loving the movie. Overall, really good Rotten Tomatoes score as well. But let's introduce ourselves, the 4-person panel here. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, writer, producer, and host here on the Outlaw Nation. And to my right or left is...
I am Michael Vogel, writer and producer of animated TV shows and movies.
And this is Shannon McClung. I'm an animation writer and a television actor where you may have seen me on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Silicon Valley, and Teen Wolf. And I actually auditioned for Supergirl a couple of times.
Oh.
When it was shooting in LA. I didn't get it, though.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe down the road, Mixoplick, we'll see what they come up with. But listen, but of course, if we're talking DC, if we're talking Zack Snyder, if we're talking Justice League, we had to invite our brother in geekery, our brother in nerdery, and our brother in DC love and fandom. That is the great Mike Kalinowski. Mike, how are you, man?
Hey.
Well, I'm just glad that you guys invited a Marvel podcaster like myself on your show to be unbiased. So I find that you're balancing it out incredibly well. I followed DC kind of throughout the years, but we'll see how this goes. So
yeah.
To quote the movie, not impressed. So let's go on.
Well, we're going to be talking about so many things here involved with them. We can't thank you all enough for joining us here tonight. Please remember, the Streamlabs and the Super Chats are open. You see the description there above my head for the Streamlabs. It's also in the description of the video, and it's also already pinned in the chat. So send in your support, send in your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and if we end at a decent time, maybe we'll bring some of you all in live to ask us questions as well. Have a little fun with that as well. If Zack Snyder shows up, we'll bring him in live. Anybody like that, we'll have a little fun. So, and don't forget to hit the like button as you watch along. Already, almost 200 of you are watching us live already. So please
look at that.
Hit that like button and give us some love and what have you. And if you're watching later, leave a comment. All right. Let's jump into this thing. And no, for anybody that's settling in for an 8-hour review, we are not going to go scene by scene through the movie, but we are.
I was ready. I was ready for it.
I'm sure.
I got my giant Diet Coke, John. I'm ready.
I even went. I went full Mountain Dew. I went full Mountain Dew for Justice League.
Mountain Dew. What are you, 18 years old, drinking Mountain Dew? What is that? Zippity doo dah blast and whatnot over there, like extreme blast, Mountain Dew.
Knowing everything that we have to go through, do you really want to harp on his drink of choice right now?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Starting early.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get to it. All right, so this has finally come to us after one of the most unique and insane journeys that any film has ever gone on that has been screened for the public. Yes, this is a streaming, but we are in the age of streaming now. So we have to open our minds a little bit more about how we interpret and process this movie. It is here. It's 4 hours and 2 minutes. It's been on HBO Max already for about 3 days. Or 4 days rather. It's been incredible to see the responses from so many people. And yeah, like you said, if you understand that hashtag release the Snyder Cut, this comes to us because of stuff that was going on behind the scenes. WB issues with Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon stepping in, put out his version of Justice League, but the fandom banged the drums. WB people in charge moved on, and somehow, some way, the factors lined up. All the chakras got in line, and we were able to get this film done. Zack Snyder spending, $70 million, I think is what the number was reported, to put his cut together, brought back Ben Affleck, brought in Jared Leto, and I think they also, some of them came back and did some stuff as well. Harry Lennox doing the Martian Manhunter stuff. So there was a lot that went into this thing. If you haven't seen the movie, we're going to spoil the shit out of it. So I hope to God you've seen the movie. But first, before we go forward, let's go around the horn and hear what everybody thinks overall about the film. Vogel, we shall. No, actually, you know what? Kalinowski, we'll start with you. You're our guest. And so please break it down. What's your feeling about this?
Shannon's gone. He's already out.
Oh, Shannon went to sleep.
Jesus Christ.
Well, boys, you know me. And I'll say this. 2 years ago when I talked about this, my thought was, we're going to get this film in 20 years. I think it exists, but this will be the new Donner cut. Fandom will talk about it for years and whatnot, and they'll want there, and then someday it'll happen. That was my thought. Mm-hmm. So to see what happened a year ago, and I'm one of those guys that anytime Snyder teased something or something like that, I was on board for it. Like all the black and whites he was showing. Yeah. And a lot of people were upset at this. They were like, why is he doing this? This is, let it go, let it die. But like, yeah, but knowing everything that happened in the past for all the time, now we kind of are like, oh, we see what it was. Right. I loved it. I'm on board. Let's get to you guys' thoughts. Let's talk more. I loved it.
All right, fine. I loved it as the overall feeling from Mike Kalinowski.
Yeah, loved it. Very happy.
Vogel, let's go to you for the counterpoint. What's your feeling about the movie?
I thought we would never, ever see this movie. Yeah. I thought there was no way in hell we would ever see the Snyder Cut. But then HBO Max came along, and HBO Max needed some strong content to get people excited. And based on the reaction of this past week, they have a big win on their hands. Like, people have been talking about it. People have been watching it. I had people texting me all weekend, all hours of the day, telling me what part of the 4-hour saga they were in. It is no surprise, no shock. I am not a big fan of the Zack Snyder DC movies. I went back and rewatched Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman and the Joss Whedon cut before watching the 4-hour Zack Snyder cut this weekend. I like this movie better than all of those movies.
Wow. Okay.
I think that Zack Snyder's Justice League is probably the best DC movie aside from Wonder Woman. But that is a low bar for me because I don't think that highly of the rest of the DC movies.
Okay.
But that being said, I think there's a lot to like about this. I think it's absolutely 100% better than the Joss Whedon cut. Compared to this, the Joss Whedon cut. I mean, the Joss Whedon cut was a garbage movie to begin with, but especially compared to this, and some of the stuff that Zack Snyder put back in, the way that Zack Snyder recut a lot of the scenes that were in the theatrical cut, it definitely is a better version. I think it's the best of Snyder and the worst of Snyder. I think that some of the best things that Snyder has done for the DC movies is in this movie. Mm-hmm. I think this movie also illustrates a lot of the problems that I have with Zack Snyder as a storyteller. So there definitely are things that really irked me, really bugged me. Mm-hmm. But I think as we go through the review tonight, you're going to hear me talk about certain sequences, certain scenes, certain moments, and actually be probably more complimentary than I've been to anything else that we've seen from Zack Snyder in DC so far.
I appreciate you currying favor with the fans. I respect it. Shannon McClung, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, I will say I agree with Vogel. Miles better than Justice League. My goodness. Zack Snyder has never met an action sequence he didn't want to slow down. The thing with the movie is this was the way the movie was supposed to be shown. Because this was Zack Snyder's version. And this is also a version that we never would have gotten in the theaters just because of that runtime. And I think even watching it now, you can probably pick out a good chunk that you could lose, that you could cut, but it would still be an incredibly long movie. There are sequences, there are moments that legitimately brought me to tears. And there were others that I got a little eye-rolly. But overall, I would not say this is the best DC movie outside of Wonder Woman. I do think, because I am a Man of Steel fan, I think Man of Steel is a stronger movie overall. But I super enjoyed this, and I don't know if I'll ever go from beginning to end again and watching it, but I imagine I will be popping it on to watch certain chapters from time to time.
Wow. Okay, well, my overall opinion is I absolutely loved it. From top to bottom, it spoke my language in ways that the best of Zack Snyder films do. 300 and Man of Steel, these speak my language, and I felt every music cue. I felt every moment. Now the nightmare sequence, we can leave that for another conversation, but everything up until the nightmare sequence, I thought was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. It's true art. It's actually art. Whether you like it or not, that's a subjective situation, but you can't deny that it's actually the definition of art. He was allowed to breathe for almost 4 hours in this movie. The characters were allowed to breathe. They were allowed to have more background to them. There was more. They fleshed them out more. There were more levels to what they were doing. They allowed you to connect to their stories as they went along, and then hooked up to become the Justice League to handle stuff. I enjoyed the design of Steppenwolf. I loved Darkseid. Jesus Christ, I loved Darkseid. DeSaad was great. The voiceover work from all those actors, incredible work overall. I love the vibe of what we got with Batman, Ray Fisher, with Superman, and Wonder Woman. All of it working together. Flash, we'll have conversations about. But overall, I thought this thing was operatic, epic, gorgeous, and just spoke in loud musical story and story, a film story beats my language, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was never bored, never felt the weight of the 4 hours or anything like that. So this is where I landed. I'm sorry, Mike, you were going to say something.
I was going to say, I don't know how they kept it under wraps that they cast Elizabeth Warren as Granny Goodness.
Oh, yeah, that's good. It's very funny. Another political joke like Joe Biden with Cap. I respect it. I respect it.
Just saying. Just saying.
Get the clunkers out early.
Really, Mr. I'm going to call a joke?
But it was a good joke. Hashtag smash mob.
All right, well let's talk about this now and break it down as we get our overall feelings.
Man, I was tight. I was concise compared to the three. I should have gone off.
Please go off right now, Mike.
Please. Let's talk. It's so funny, John, because of you guys, it's like I kind of know. I kind of know where Vogel stands on DC. I know where McClung stands, but John, you are the outlier for me because I remember when we went to see BVS, I was like, I'm so curious how you're going to feel about this film because I know you love Man of Steel. So when this one came out, but we were talking back and forth leading up to this and knowing how excited you were for this. And then to see, you tweeted, you texted me like half hour, and my God, this is awesome. And I just, it gets better. So I kind of, and then to see your tweet out the next day, I was like, oh, we're on the same page 100% on this film because it's interesting. Like we'll get into like the aspect ratio and the choices and stuff. But for me, I don't find the length. And that's what I find so many people are complaining the length. That's like, we knew for a year this was going to be 4 hours. We knew that going in. This film, like it is right now, would have never gone to theaters like this. We know that. He would have cut it down theatrically.
The only other film that's ever gone to this length is Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. So you're absolutely right. No studios do not put these kind of movies out for 4 hours. Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he would have cut it down, and these cuts that people are saying would have happened. Like easy cut, Silas or Eleanor Stone talking to the principal. That scene gets cut for a theatrical release because later when you're showing with the money with the lady, it shows Victor being a good person. But that actress got her role to be seen. We got more of a fleshed out of the family. It just was win-win. Like it was him telling his story and us as who love these characters getting to see it. Yeah. Theatrically, what we saw on HBO right now would not have been there. We would have lost a half hour somewhere.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
But I do think that so I think it was fortunate for Zack Snyder fans and fortunate for Zack Snyder that he was allowed to show this full version.
Yes.
But I do think that when you do see the full version, it does illustrate the problem with some of the choices made leading up to Justice League that they had to deal with in the edit of it, which is because we got the 4 hour version, we got to see Aquaman's full story and Flash's full story and Cyborg's full story and the resurrection of Superman and touch on all these other moments. But the fact of the matter is that choosing to do it the way that they chose to do it, which is launching into your big team movie with the majority of your team never having been introduced yet, does present you problems. And in the 4 hour version, we get to have all the moments. We get to have plenty of moments for each character to shine and glow. But I think that Zack Snyder wants to tell such a huge story.
Yeah.
Like that's clear. From Man of Steel to Batman vs. Superman to this to what he intended to do with the other two. And I think that part of the problem is that had Zack Snyder had to do this in the way that would have been theatrical, a lot more would have been cut than Cyborg's mom talking to the principal. And I think that it would have been to a disservice. So it's nice to see this full version, but I think it presents some of the challenges that Zack Snyder's choices within the DC universe led leading up to this.
I think you make an excellent point because remember, the reason we can connect to these characters is because we've gotten Aquaman. We've gotten 2 Wonder Woman's movies. We've gotten a little more with the comments around Ray Fisher, what he said was going to be coming for his story. Zack Snyder going on Vero and whatever his thing is, a social media thing is, and dropping little hints about what it was going to look like. Superman in the black suit. So there were little hints of what we were going to see. But in 2017, if he had dropped this version, would it have worked? Even though we got a little more with Arthur Curry, having had the Aquaman movie really gives more life. I mean, the Willem Dafoe scenes might not have been as moving or as connectable if we don't have Aquaman to show you who that character is. So in a way, Zack Snyder benefited with his 4-hour cut from all of this going down the way it did, so that he could present and flesh out these storylines and have people connect to them who wanted to connect to them. What do you think, Shannon, about what Michael just said?
Well, I mean, the main thing is I'm thinking of the people in the studio that were greenlighting this, because this was a 4-hour movie. I'd be curious to find out how long Chris Terrio's script was, because if the length was such an issue, this is something that probably could have been solved earlier on in the scripting. They're like, hey guys, you can't. Your script's got to be shorter. Like right now, the cheat rule is kind of a minute a page. Now that's not exactly true, because action sequences tend to be a little longer, dialogue can be read a little faster. Yeah. But if you have a 160-page script, which that's my guess that this was, it's like you should have known as the studio, like you said okay, and you let him go and make everything. So at this point, like I don't see how the studio looked at what he had and thought that the solution was Joss Whedon coming in and just taking the hatchet to it. Like I don't see how they got in their heads that that's the solution, because ultimately I didn't like what Joss added, but I also think Joss was doing what he was told. I don't think they said, hey, go make it better. I think they said, do it like this. We want it, like I think Kalinowski said, we want it like a Marvel movie. And that's what he did. And then you have these 2 creative forces battling it out, and that's why the theatrical cut was such a train wreck.
But it's never Joss's fault, is it? Oh, Marvel forced me to do that for Ultron. Marvel did this to DC did this to me. It's never Joss's fucking fault. And at some point, son, you're an adult. Step up and own your shit. I don't know. But Kalinowski, there's something also to be said here that this is a 4-hour movie, perhaps because Zack Snyder had a 5-movie plan for this whole universe. And at this point, there is no extra going forward at this point. So this was it. So do you think he put everything into this 4-movie and then left us with a little teaser in the nightmare sequence just to show you what he really wanted to do here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we talk a lot about this. Christian and I talk a lot on Sith Council about the new prequels and the reason that, for better or for worse, did not resonate like they should have, because there was no plan. There was Force Awakens, then Last Jedi did whatever it did, and Rise of Skywalker came back and did whatever it did. Right. He had a plan. He always said, I remember that talk of that it's going to be 5 films. It's 5 films. Man, he's not the Superman you want right now. He will be there eventually. He'll get there. So he might not have had written script words for every single beat, but he had the plan of where. And now you see a lot of stuff in Justice League that ties to Man of Steel, that brings it back to Man of Steel, and it enriches those 2 films. Like he with Junkie XL, he sat down and said, like, dude, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to try. And he's like, well, I want to try some things. I want to try some choral stuff. He's like, go for it. Try it. Let's do it. The studio's giving it to us. Let's go. I think the nightmare sequence was absolutely fan service. This is what I want to tease. This would be in 2. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever get there. Here we go. It's for you guys. I think he had said, this is for the fans. Yeah. He's like, he put the kitchen sink is there because he doesn't know if he'll ever come back. Right. I think that's my thoughts.
Mike, Vogel, you've been an executive and you've had these meetings. You've been, you've dealt with IP of this kind of size in meetings yourself in your career as an executive, as a producer, as a writer, all of the things that you've done here. What's your feeling about all of this as we're speaking about it now, this section of our conversation?
I mean, look, I think I agree with. Look, I'm not gonna defend Joss Whedon. I think there's 1,000 reasons not to defend Joss Whedon. But when you look at Justice League, you do see someone trying to streamline a movie and make some things make sense that weren't making sense. And like, look, good example of something that's really bad that we all hate, that Russian family. We all hate the Russian family. We're all very happy that the Russian family's not there. Yes. But you can see an executive note saying, we want to see them saving people. Mm-hmm. And in the Zack Snyder version, there's no one to save. Steppenwolf is built his giant base that apparently no one on Earth can pick up with a satellite and shows up to check out at all. So
Bruce
he just
does pick it up by himself.
Sure.
There you go.
The only guy.
He's got 6 of them.
I'm just saying that if you're gonna set a giant alien base up, in Chernobyl, probably someone's gonna notice at some point. But that being said, you can see the executives saying, "Well, let's have them save some people, and you have to use the footage you have. You have to shoot around it." And the solution is, let's do this. So you see all the Band-Aids being put over, and having been in meetings like that, you see where those notes come from. Yeah. You see, we don't like that Bruce Wayne just knows at the beginning of the movie that bad forces are coming because Lex Luthor said it at the end of Batman versus Superman. Let's give more of a reason. So you have that whole parademon scene. Like, you see where the fixes came in and why the executives wanted it that way. Do I think that there's a probably happy medium? Not necessarily between Joss and Zack, put Joss aside. Do I think there was a way to sort of rein in some of Zack Snyder's impulses and still have a really compelling movie? There probably was. There's probably other fixes that could have been made. But all things being equal, it's like I said, I think when you're given the runway and you're given the 4-hour version, it all makes more or less sense. Mostly, and to Kalinowski's point, you definitely see how it ties into Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel more. Seeing Zack's version, I do think that again, it's like what I said earlier. I think that watching the Zack Snyder version it's great that we get to see this, but it also sort of proves the point on why Zack Snyder's Justice League was never probably going to fully work in a way that would have been a theatrical release that it needed to be. There's just too much story. There's too many characters. There's too much happening. There's too many introductions. Somebody was going to get the short shrift in a movie that had to get cut down for theatrical release. To Shannon's point, the script was too big. There was too much story.
Let me just counterpoint to Michael real quickly here.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Shots fired.
Let's go.
Michael, did you feel this way with Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Because I say this and I try and use this for people or try and equate it to the Lord of the Rings. When Boromir shows up in Fellowship at the Council of Elrond, we don't go, what's his backstory? Where was Faramir's story with his father, Denethor? Where was the story of that? When we get to Two Towers and we meet Theoden, and we don't have a Theoden and the Riders of Rohan movie. We don't know. We see Theoden, he's old, and Grima Wormtongue is corrupted him, and Saruman's in charge of him. It's like, we don't go, well, how did he get there? We go along for the ride. So I think too many people want those introductions. Well, my character didn't get the full this, and this. We go on this ride with these characters, and I think this 4-hour epic kind of gave everybody, I think we could take some moments away from these people and still give the story to go, because it's that larger canvas. We don't need these individual movies. And I don't know if people are like, well, it's Aquaman. I want his whole story. It's like, I get that, but you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, and to answer the question, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that the solution is we needed an Aquaman movie and a Flash movie and a Cyborg movie before we could ever do Justice League.
Right.
Even Avengers doesn't do that. We meet I guess if we're going to count the Hulk Ed Norton movie, we had a Hulk movie, so let's say we did. But we meet Black Widow and Hawkeye, aside from his Thor cameo, in Avengers. Like, you can introduce a couple characters, and to that point with Hawkeye and Black Widow, we don't get a ton of backstory. To the Lord of the Rings version of it, putting a lot of those other characters aside, it's the 4 hobbits, it's Legolas, it's Gimli, it's Aragorn, it's Gandalf. Like, that's your Justice League, for lack of a better word. Okay. And we spend a lot of time with the hobbits, the 4 main hobbits, before we even get to the council. And then once we meet Legolas and Gimli, we've already spent a lot of time with Aragorn. We've got about a lot of his backstory. And then we only have to get to really know Gimli and Legolas moving forward. So we take time on this journey to know what we need to know about the characters. So what I'm saying about what Zack Snyder wanted to do, and you can tell by what he did, is Zack Snyder wanted to do the backstory. I'm not telling Zack Snyder he has to do the backstory of everybody.
Okay.
He gave us an entire thing about, because again, as John said, this came out before Aquaman. So he gives us a whole, I'm part of the sea, but I'm part of the land, and my mom turned me away and I'm mad about it, but Mira knows my mom, and Volko has really gorgeous hair and he's telling me what to do, and there's a bunch of stuff. And then with Barry, we want to know about Barry's dad. We want to know about Barry meeting Iris. We want to know Barry's love for hot dogs. Like, there's a bunch of things there that we need to get into. And then with Cyborg, who is, as Zack Snyder said, really the heart of the movie, we need to know about his dad. So it's like, I'm not telling you or Zack Snyder, you need to go do other movies. I'm saying that he wanted to do all that backstory. And because all of these characters, in addition to having a lot of backstory, already existed, we don't get to go on a journey with Cyborg and see this happen in real time. We have to see it all happen in flashback. So with each of these characters, we're sort of doing a Cliff's Notes version of what we need to know to get to what he wants to do, which is bring the whole team together. And so it's not about he has to do it one way or he has to do it the Marvel way or he has to do it another way. The way he chose forces him to tell a lot more story than you should normally fit into a movie.
Yeah, but I don't think it was, and
not in this movie, not in the 4-hour version. It works. It's great. What we got, we got it all. Like, we got to see it.
Yeah.
But as we all said, this 4-hour movie was never going to be what we got in theaters. So I'm saying, getting to see it all, you're like, oh, okay, I see what he wanted. But then to go, well, how would that have worked in a 2-hour 30, 2-hour 40, like whatever it needed to be. And I think that's where you're like, I think that there was too much story there. I mean, that would be my criticism of what he would have had to have done to get it out. Not a criticism of what we saw, which is this is all of it in the kitchen sink and everything for the fans.
Okay. Well, let's take a pause here and thank, we've got 650 people watching us live right now. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button as you're watching us. Get us as many likes as we can here tonight. We're also going to get into your Super Chats and Streamlabs right now. We're going to dive into the characters one by one in our next segment. But first, let's hit some of these Streamlabs. Octaris Alcor says, might not be able to watch live, but this was the show I was waiting for. Well, I hope you're enjoying it so far. Travis Earl says, question for the panel. Snyder Cut, great comic book movie or greatest comic book movie? Discuss.
No.
Okay.
Not the greatest comic book movie.
All right. Kalinowski, a great or greatest comic book movie?
It's a great movie. I wouldn't say it's the greatest, no.
Okay. Michael?
It's a movie.
Oh, my God. Wow.
I think it is a movie that has great comic book moments.
Okay.
How about that?
All right, that's a fair way to walk the line.
And I will add, it's a good movie. It's a good movie that is not close to being the greatest comic book movie.
I would say it's a great comic book movie, and I put it in my top 3 DC movies. And I think before I die, it might hit number 1 in the DC.
Wow.
Over Donner Superman, definitely over 89 Batman for sure. Because I don't believe in the Norman Rockwell stuff. I did when I was 10. I don't believe in the Norman Rockwell stuff now. And I love what he did with this movie. I love the scene with Wonder Woman, saving those kids from the terrorists. I thought that was awesome. I love it. And then still have the moment in the cornfield with Clark, with his mom, with
those Hans Zimmer cues start playing. God.
I'm just saying,
Waterworks.
You can still have the core of these characters deal with the real adult nature of the world. So I love that combo. All right, let's see. Ray Dominguez III says, love your show. Derek Johnson says, it has begun. Combat is about to start. I appreciate that. Parker says, this was the first time Snyder had an actual investing character with Cyborg, but the bloated runtime, indulgent slow-mo, ironic considering you probably love Lord of the Rings and their indulgent slow-mo, strange use of songs, paper-thin plot, and spectacle absent of any tangibility or emotional engagement kept me from loving it. I don't understand that at all, but all right.
I have to address this.
Yes,
because I saw some people that it came out, and they were like, well, the bottom line is it's still a movie about magic boxes. Well, you know what? Lord of the Rings, it's a couple friends taking some jewelry on a walk. Mad Max Fury Road, you know what it is? It's a movie about a U-turn. That's all that film is. But it's a story with these characters. I love that. Like in Infinity War, it's a movie about 6 magic rocks. That's what it is.
And a glove, yeah.
So when using that crap with no plot, then it's like, come on, man. That's just amateur hour. It's amateur hour.
I think maybe we should agree that this is a divisive movie.
Absolutely.
And half the people watching this love it, and half the people watching it don't love it.
Right.
And both of those opinions are valid.
They are, and we can have issues with their opinions as well. That's also valid. That's what we're doing here on these things. I'm just saying, I saw the slow motion complaint too many times on social. The same people probably have all the Lord of the Rings extended editions with all that extra slow-mo that Peter Jackson does. The useless slow-mo that drove me insane. I think it's all perspective. It's all subjective.
John,
yeah,
you've covered this ad nauseum on Cinephiles. It's a director's style. When I show up for J.J. Abrams, I want lens flares. I want to see them lens flares.
I'm going to get lens flares. Yes.
Nolan, you show up, you know what you're getting with the music. You know you're not going to be able to hear half the dialogue, but it's a Nolan film.
Timey-wimey shit.
Slow-mo. It's his thing. I want slow-mo with this guy.
Right, Spike Lee, I get the dolly shot where the dude's like into the camera. This is what I anticipate, and this is what I'm going to get. So I don't understand why people went crazy on the slow-mo, but as Michael just said, we respect your opinion. See, Zach Woolley just donated. Thank you, Zach. Askewed_1 says, no questions, just love. Thank you. Fillmore Pockets donated here. Derek Johnson says, let's not put all the blame on Whedon because he's the easy target here. The studio wanted these changes. Can't have Superman cutting off body parts and sell that for kids' toys. When did Superman cut off body parts?
He cut Steppenwolf's horn off with his heat vision.
Oh, for God's sake.
Well, technically he burned it off, but
yeah, and it was cauterized. He's fine.
I hate to break it to you, but he's used his heat vision to cut things off in the comics. So I'm confused by these.
He's used his heat vision to cut things off. Maybe not a part of a person's head.
I don't think Superman in the comics is going around dismembering people, but maybe I'm reading the wrong ones.
Yeah, maybe you are. I mean, look, Christopher Reeve let General Zod die. So let's see. And look, I take Derek's point, and it's a fair point.
Right.
You can't just blame Josh. You could blame WB as well. Certainly, WB. They're all. We've heard the stories. Those executives in charge at the time rushed this thing through because they wanted to get their bonus money before AT&T bought WB, and they might possibly lose their bonus money. So this is what we got, and Josh did the job. But if you want to blame or not, that's absolutely your prerogative as a subjective thing. Tushka Production says, now that we see the extravagant runtime of this epic, do you think this would have been more digestible as chapters or 2 parts? Follow-up question, do you think Whedon could have done a more serviceable job with a 3-hour runtime? Yeah, let's take those in 2 separate equations. Gentlemen, this was initially rumored to be a 4-part, 4-episode drop. Then they said it was going to be a full movie. This is broken up into 6 chapters. Would this have been more palatable, more consumable had this dragged on over 6 weeks or 4 weeks? Vogel, I go to you as the executive who's been in charge of things like this in the past.
I feel like I think HBO Max, this is complete conjecture. I have no idea if this is true or not. I bet Warner Brothers and HBO Max wanted to do this as like a 4, 5, 6 week thing. I think it would have been great for them, great for the streaming service. I think Zack Snyder ultimately was like, I want to do this. This is my movie. I don't want to do it as a TV series. I don't want to do it as a mini series. I want this to be my movie. And so I think it is what it is. I think it works as a big movie. I think it could have worked both ways. I think it could have been each chapter could have been a week, and we could have had reviews and discussed and conjecture and what is it all going to be. As far as the other thing goes, look, regardless of what you think of Joss Whedon, like him, hate him, think he's an asshole, all valid. I don't think that even with a 3-hour runtime, we'd be getting into the J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson argument all over again. It is true that Zack Snyder's Justice League feels like Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel. It feels like one long story. All the details are there, the love and attention to making sure all the moments resonate. And Joss Whedon coming in and doing his take on what these characters would be like for 3 hours, even though there would be some people that would say, oh, I think I liked this better, I think this was good. It wouldn't, as much as I have issues with what this version of some of these characters are, it wouldn't have been a continuation of those movies, and this is. So I think it would have just been a lose-lose ultimately to even go down that road.
Shannon, we haven't heard from you in a bit. What's your feeling on this?
Yeah, definitely agree with Mike about Joss taking over. Like, I don't think it matters how much runtime you give him. If he's using, it's a two-pronged response. It's like, if he's using any of Zack Snyder's stuff and using his own stuff, it's not going to work. I mean, just because it's just those two contrasting styles bumping up against each other. Right. If they let him just do it from scratch, like if Zack Snyder never made it onto Justice League and Joss did it from day one, Mike's right. It's still not going to feel like the same universe. Like it could have been an okay movie, but it's for the people that are going to see it because they loved Man of Steel and they love Batman versus Superman. They're the ones that probably aren't going to be happy because it's going to feel like a departure from what got them on the train to begin with. Now, in terms of the chapters, you know, when I don't think you can take a movie and kind of episodic it up. I mean, you can get like what we got because you could go right into the next chapter. I feel like if you are trying to make, if the intention was to make Justice League as a 4 or 5 hour miniseries, I think you could have made something really cool and really awesome, and Zack Snyder would have had all the runway that he needed. But you can't create an episodic drama out of a 4 hour movie.
Fair. All right, Kalinowski, what do you feel about both of these questions?
Yeah, I'm to your points with the Joss Whedon, I'm on board with that. With the runtime, I was disappointed when it's kind of talked about doing a mini series of it. I was like, I don't really want that. I want it all as a film. Like Shannon said, it's a film, and the chapters do work. They do. They have a nice. It doesn't feel like, oh, that's the end of a scene and it's the next. We're cutting it. It's a nice fade out. It's a nice like, oh, this is a perfect time to end. I think it adds kind of to it. And Shannon and I watched it last night, and I was like, she's not a one for staying up late at night, but I was like, okay, when we get to chapter 4, I'll tell her you want to stop now. And I didn't even mention it. We just kept on going. But that said, like with Winter Soldier, we talked on the show the other day. I would have benefited from that, releasing it all at once, even though it's designed as a TV show. I want that all 6 hours right away. Cause like I'd said, I felt a little slow going in and I want to get to pick it up a little bit. So I would have loved to take that as 1 6 hour movie. WandaVision though, I love the episodic nature of it, but both of those are designed for this episodic nature. This, I think it's great like this. Cause now, like Shannon said, I'll go back and watch chapters. Like I can't wait to go back and watch 6, the final battle. Again, and that's something I'll just have on in the background every now and then. So I'm glad I'm glad it was his movie. He got to do it the way he wanted. And someone in the chat brought up a good point, I think, has mentioned the contracts with the actors. That's different because how do you pay them for that? It's like if you're paying more, it's like it's episodic then at this point. That I'm sure weighed heavily on WB going, okay, we wanted it episodic, but we're not shelling out, $100 million or $1 million more each person for every episode we're dropping. Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay. All right, let's keep going. Well, my opinion is this. Yeah, I think it works in chapters. I watched it all day over one day. Like I had other shows to do and things to do, so I had to break it up by chapters. It didn't affect my overall enjoyment of the movie at all. Made me even more excited to jump back in. So it could have worked in chapters the way they did it if they wanted to go that route. I think it still could have worked, but for those of us who wanted to watch it all at once, I was glad they did that. And as for Joss Whedon, there was no way he was going to be like, let me do a 3-hour version of this. No fucking way. They brought him in for a specific reason, a 2-hour cut, get it out by this time, boom. And that's what he did. And as Michael said, you can hate it, not hate it, or think he's an asshole. He did the job, and that's what he was assigned to do. Let's see. Okay, Christian Alont. Oh, no, Parker Haller, this is one for Vogel, says, I feel like people throw the word auteur around loosely. Just because a director has a distinct and unique style doesn't always make their movies good. I feel like Zack Snyder is the embodiment of style over substance. Also, Vogel is my spirit animal. There you go.
Aw.
That was very sweet of you. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Address this
No.
one.
I think Zack Snyder has a very, very specific style. I think Zack Snyder visually creates a gorgeous movie. I think that you could not take you can take the sound off, don't know what it is. You can see a movie from far away and be like, that's gorgeous, and that's a Zack Snyder movie.
Right.
And again, this is subjective, and clearly he has his fans. Like there are a bunch of people who love what Zack Snyder does, including at least half the people on this panel. Yeah. But I do think that my issue with him does stem from, I think he gets really excited about really big ideas. And I think that sometimes he doesn't take the time for the smaller, quieter moments to really build to those ideas. And I know that every time I say that, you can point out 5 scenes that you loved from the movie and say, this was a quiet moment, this was a quiet moment. For me, and for other people who have this issue, he doesn't take the time to get there. He's very excited with these movies about treating heroes as gods and symbols. Mm-hmm. Superman is a symbol. He's a symbol to the people that are afraid of him. He's a symbol to the people that worship him. He's a symbol to everybody. Yeah. And I think sometimes, particularly in the DC movies, he gets so excited about them being symbols that we don't get to spend as much time with them as people as we do in some of the other superhero movies in the genre that are out there, both Marvel and otherwise.
Okay, fair. And Parker, I would correct you on this. An auteur does not mean a good filmmaker. An auteur means you have a distinct style that makes you an auteur and makes people understand that it is your movie. So yes, Zack Snyder is an auteur. You know what you're going to get when you walk into a Zack Snyder movie. Whether you believe it's style over substance and other people don't believe it's style over substance, the overall look of it, you know what you're getting. And you could tell, my God, the difference between this and Whedon's Justice League, the look of the film, completely different, right? My God. Krishna Lante says, I see some people complain about scenes that could have been cut because they didn't advance the story, the Flash Iris scene. But in my opinion, since it's on streaming and broken in 6 parts, I think those scenes are great for developing character. All right. Yeah, let's stop here. We got about 10 more of these to read, but let's jump into this is a good one to jump us into character. Kalinowski, I'll start with you. We got the Ray Fisher story we've been waiting for. Victor Stone. We got this the interactions with his mom. We got the Joe Morton situation, his dad. We got their connections. And I thought, in my opinion, we got a fantastic payoff when what happened to his dad. And the reasons for that happening were really well laid out, because we're not going to get a Cyborg movie. And maybe Zach knew that, which is why he put that whole scene in, or kept the whole scene in, where they're explaining how he became Cyborg, how this all came about, because Ray is not going to get a chance to do this in a future Cyborg movie, which had been rumored. What do you think about how they handled Cyborg in this movie?
It's interesting. I think Snyder just did an interview either today and it came out like he was saying that he really thought Ray Fisher in a Cyborg movie was a green light instantly after this film. He was like, and he says, now looking back, I would have pushed harder for him in the role with the executives that when I had the ears to go, this man needs to have his own film. Because, and now we could talk for hours about what has been going on over the past couple of years with Ray kind of being this, the figurehead of this movement with the entire cast. But you also see the sense of how much has changed and how different this is a star-making performance in this film and the role he was given, as opposed to what we ended up seeing originally. He was great actor-wise in the first one. There's no doubt about him as an actor. But just to see the whole family, and he's so great online with his family. The actors playing his mother, they're kind of back and forth now online and social media. And you just see, it's tough. Like, think about this. Like, think about you work with a director you love. You're for however long, 6-7 months, you got the script, and then things happen. He's taken off. People come in, you get a new script, and the director's like, you know what? I don't take notes from anyone. I'm not going to take your notes. And you're just, this is not really what we were doing. Like, but then you're under contract, you're an adult, you're a professional, you do the job. I've never been in that situation. And to see that, and to see the change of these characters, just the simple, the whole family dynamic, I'm glad we're finally seeing this, realizing, and he's become like Michael, you talked about, these are the gods and the symbols. He is a digital god now at this point. Like what they did with him and how much they showed that he is the linchpin in the heart of the league. And it was absent from the first film, that heart of the league feeling and owning it. And it felt earned when he gets to that point. And I could talk for hours on how he, with the mother boxes and separating his family, and just the whole thing is like, come with us. You don't have to be alone. You're broken. You're alone. He's like, I'm not broken. I'm not alone. Like, those moments killed me because it resonates with people. And we missed all this. So I just, with so many decisions in this film, I'm like, how do you change this?
Well, the movie is full of trinities, Michael. The mother boxes, the Stone family, Clark, Ma, and Lois.
Yeah.
I would say Batman, Alfred, and Wonder Woman. The movie is
good
full
point.
of trinities, especially Volko, Mera, and Aquaman.
And Aquaman.
It's
Yeah.
all there, and this is what he's getting at. Michael, please, what do you think about how Victor Stone was handled, how Ray Fisher did in this movie?
I really liked all the Cyborg stuff. I mean, I liked all of it. I thought it was really well done. I think, kind of to Kalinowski's point, it makes me wonder, like, I wish that in a movie where, again, I feel like I say the same thing over and over again, but in a movie where so much is going on, it's like, I almost wish that there had been less at stake for other characters, or less so that it could have really been Cyborg's movie. It just felt like there was so many things that we needed to hit here. Like, it's Superman's movie because we can't survive without Superman and he's the inspiration we need, but it's also Batman's movie because he's trying to have faith for the first time because he hasn't had faith before. And so, like, there was just so many things. So I thought that the Cyborg stuff was all great. It's just that when it's kind of like, one of the other things that I think I have issue with the movie is when everything is turned up to 11, it's hard to know which is the more important things and which are the less important things. And, so it's like when the entire movie is, we can't do this without, we can't do this without Superman. We can't do this. We need him. He is the inspiration. He's the thing that brings us together. But then it's about Batman, and then it's about we've lost the age of heroes and we need to bring all the heroes back together, but it's also Cyborg's thing. It's like, I just feel like there been a little bit more focus on, this is what we really are focusing on, and then here's some other really great stuff that's happening with these characters. And I just feel like, we went from Cyborg's amazing moment to Barry's amazing moment, and they're all so huge and they're shot so epically that it's kind of like, it's almost an embarrassment of riches visually to say, well, what's the most important stuff? And so it's like, I also agree. Like, I think I would love to see Cyborg as the focus of his own movie and really drive some stuff. And I think it's a shame that we're not going to.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I enjoyed Ray Fisher madly in this movie, and I felt like his complaints had even more weight now in retrospect after having watched the movie and understanding what Joss did to his character and what the accusations were. Jeff Johns, Walter Hamada, other people. It just looking at this movie, you're like, this guy, this is what he was fighting for. This is why he was hurt. This is why he felt that he was hard done by the studio coming in, cutting out a story. As a black man in this movie, the only black member of this Justice League, there's not even a black member of the Avengers, as the only black member of this team, they wanted to have, well, I mean, you know what I mean. They're not in the original Avengers. They wanted to have some story here to tell, and they cut his story more than anyone else's, and it was frustrating overall. So what did you think, Shannon, about how Ray Fisher did in the movie, but how Zack Snyder did with putting in all the Cyborg stuff in this?
It was outstanding. I mean, that sequence where he's listening to Joe Morton on the tape recorder, I mean, that is a beautiful artistic sequence. I mean, and I loved the regular Ray walking around the memories, like the digital memories, essentially. And like, I don't think you necessarily needed it later when he was talking about, this is what, the Nazis found the box and the Americans found the box. It's such a cool device that it would be great to have like a Cyborg, like limited series. Like that's something, I mean, you could even make that, the Cyborg episodic series. I mean, like this is the crime of the week that he has to solve. Like that's such a cool device. And like you could tell from the Whedon cut, like there was never a knock on Ray Fisher's acting. Like Ray Fisher was working with what he was given, and it just happened. He got the short shrift of that cast, and getting to see him really dive into this material that Chris Terrio and Zack Snyder gave him. He was dynamite. And like, I'm thinking specifically about the Joe Morton scene when he's trying to zap the box, and just like that look of pain on his face when he realizes like, oh no, I'm gonna lose them both. And sorry guys.
No, buddy. No, it's gonna it hits. Yeah. Go for it, buddy.
It's when
it hits, buddy boy.
Things with things with dads are hitting me right now.
Yeah, of course.
Daddy,
please.
That's what we're here, man.
Absolutely.
You're with us. We're with the buddies, boy. Now you're gonna make me cry too.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it, you know me. I'm a sympathetic crier, man. Here I go. Here I go, McClung.
Here it is.
How was that? How was that Justice League review? How was that Justice League review? Well,
let's go. Yeah, got emotional. Got
me going.
Derek Johnson says Vogel is right. He was hurt and his story cut. Director and studio made a choice. Sometimes you get asshole bosses. Don't make them racist or bigoted. Nothing to do with race. Derek, you don't know that. You weren't in that fucking room. You don't know if it had something to do with race or not. But here's the deal. Even if it didn't, your job is to be aware of that kind of shit, especially the history of race and racism in how a lot of these superhero films, sci-fi films, fantasy films are presented. Unconscious racism is what is a term a white person made up. And this is the things that I want to clarify here. You have to be aware of race. Doesn't make you racism, but I will ding you if you're not aware of it. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, I mean, just to use this as a specific example to illustrate the point that John's making, which is correct, is it's 100% possible.
Yes.
That as they are taking all the stuff that Zack Snyder had and they're trying to figure out how they're going to funnel this into a movie, and the executives are saying, look, this is a Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman movie. People love Flash. We have an Aquaman movie coming up. Cyborg, we don't care as much about. He's not as popular as the others, so maybe we cut his story down most.
Right.
That is 100% possible that that's how that conversation went.
Sure.
But John is right that somebody in that room, when that conversation happens, has to go, whoa, hold on. There is one black member on this team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, maybe he's not as popular as Flash, or I know we have the Aquaman coming. We don't quite know what we're doing with Cyborg, but I think it is going to look pretty bad if this movie comes out and the one black character that we have has no role to speak of, or has the smallest role, or has been cut the most, which is ultimately what happened. So I don't think that there was a bunch of like bad racist dudes twirling their mustaches saying, let's cut the black guy. But I do think that as they made the choices they made, to John's point, you've got to be aware of that because representation is really important. And I think that when you do look at what Zack Snyder said from the get-go, which is true, that when you watch this version, like, Cyborg's story is kind of the heart of the movie. It really is a shame that in looking at how to rework things, they didn't try and retain at least some of that in spirit, which they really didn't.
Yeah. But to John's point, I think people are now, you see the differences in these cuts, and it goes beyond just Ray. It's Silas. It's Eleanor Stone, gone. It is Kiersey Clemons as Iris, gone. Whole scene is one scene.
Yeah.
And she knew she was good. They knew she was going to be in the Flash film, so it was setting up the film like that character gone. Ryan Choi, Asian character, gone. I believe the waitress that with Ray interacts with is an Asian actress as well, gone. So people see these and see what's cut. There is a through line, and
it starts to become obvious.
Michael, and you're the one of the guys early on when we met. You were the one that opened my eyes to this in the world of like, I'm a white guy and I've grown up with all my white characters. Why this and this? You're like, well, you've got to open your perspective now and see more. And that, 5-6 years ago with you. So I try and look at it that way. And it's hard not to see it now with the two films out there. You're like, yeah, if the shoe fits, you gotta look at it.
And I'm sorry for Socket Jams who tuned in. LOL. Oh my God, I just tuned in. Now I'm out. Literally every time I come in, some woke SJW trash. Well, keep playing your guitar, guy. You're gonna make it. Trust me. All right, let's move on to the next thing here. What do you guys think about the way they handle Batman? The way it was so, for me personally, and I'll go first. I was so in love with Ben Affleck's Batman by the end of this movie, and even more disappointed that we're not going to get to see it again. And the nightmare sequence, we'll talk about that later on. But like overall, the more he got to do here, I fell in love with his Batman, maybe even bordering on my favorite Batman ever. He exudes the right Bruce Wayne type. He exudes the Dark Knight Returns, older Batman, the grizzled stuff. It all worked. Where it didn't fully work for me in BVS, other than the warehouse scene, it really worked for me here. Shannon, I go to you first on this one. What do you think about how Affleck did and the scenes that were added to this movie?
Well, and it's such like comparing it to the theatrical cut where he was not in the best shape when they did that. You could tell he was a little puffy. He was dealing with some personal issues at the time. I thought Ben Affleck did a fantastic job. I will go to the mat every time to say he was miscast. Like Ben Affleck to me has a blue collarness that he will never be able to shake off. It doesn't matter how many suits you put him in and how nice you make his hair. I mean, this is a guy. This is like the way back. Like that's Ben Affleck to me. That being said, he still did a terrific job. Yeah. I really wanted to see that great Bruce and Diana moment when they're, I think it was after he's come back from seeing Arthur, and they touch the mouse of the computer at the same time.
Oh yeah.
I've always liked the Bruce Diana romantic pairing. I've always thought that has worked so well, and I'm glad that we got a glimpse of it. I'm sad that more than likely we're never going to see that again. And you can certainly make the case that Steve is her true love. She's never going to get over Steve. That's fine. Right. But I do think there was some stuff left on the table that had Affleck stayed with the franchise, which, I mean, I would never say get rid of him. He's doing a great job. But I would like to have seen that relationship explored a little more.
Yeah. What do you think, Vogel? What did you think about how Affleck did in the movie and what we saw?
I think Ben Affleck's doing the best job he can do with it. I kind of agree with Shannon. He always will be like more of the blue collar guy to me. I think also for me, and look, I've said this before, so this is no big surprise. I never loved the choice of in this version of the DC universe skipping over 20 years of Batman. Like, I love the Dark Knight Batman. I love the guy who's been through it as much as anybody. But if Superman has just shown up and is a brand new hero, I think you're skipping over a lot of gold that could have been great storytelling, and you're making an assumption that your audience has to know a lot to respect. Like, we all love, you guys look at, you're like, oh, it's the Dark Knight, it's Frank Miller's Batman. You're like, but if I'm like someone who's just falling in love with DC for the first time with these movies, I've skipped over years of story. Robin has come and gone, and Joker killed him, and his thing is in the thing. So I feel like that was always that always was a bummer, because all that we really got was one movie where Batman was just really in a rage and mad about that alien, and then a movie where Batman, who's the ultimate loner, who's like, what I love about Batman is that he was the loner for so long and didn't think he needed anybody, and then finally was like, all right, I'm gonna hang with you guys. And there's kind of that but like with this, we never got the first part, so we just had someone who was really angry for a movie and then said, I'm gonna get a team together. So I feel like we just missed out on what could have been, given the way that it was.
Okay. Kalinowski, what'd you feel about what we got with Ben Affleck?
Well, I was always a fan of his from the beginning, and I not against Vogel, but I did love the 20-year older Batman. I loved the kind of gristled, and not so much in like a Dark Knight Returns way. He was still Batman. He was still out there doing what he was doing. I just think it provided better storytelling, and to the point of, well, we lost all those stories. It's like, well, I've got a shelf full of animated films that tell that 20 years that I could see him with Robins and Nightwings and everything. So this was something different, it was a new tale. Michael, do you have a point?
I was actually disappointed.
It's the inhale that gets you.
It's the part he goes.
And no, actually, it was and it's not like a gotcha question. Actually, I'm just curious. No. Like, what did you not like? Yes, you have all the stories, so you're saying you didn't need those stories, right? But what did you like about the choice of having Batman?
I like, because I know, like Batman, God forbid, I never need to see the pearls and the shot again in a Batman
Never
film.
again.
Never need to see that ever again.
Not for another 40 years. Would be
I'll be honest with you guys. When I had heard Matt Reeves was doing a Batman, and it was younger Batman, I was like, finally, we're going to see Batman in his prime. And then they said he's going to be in his second year. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I want a Batman that's been like 10 years. Batcave full of trophies. He's got maybe Nightwing with him. His villains are already established. Like, we still haven't gotten that yet.
The Penny. Yeah.
Yeah. Something like just penny, like in the middle, in his prime, knowing what he's doing, not figuring things out, and not what we get. So this was the story they were telling me. So I was like, I'm bored. I'm a Batman fan. Yeah. I love the fact that we see in BVS, he's sleeping with random women. He's on painkillers. He's drinking, which is not Batman to a lot of people. He's killing, not Batman to a lot of people. And I get that. But then to see this film, and like McClung said, and McClung, much to my detriment, points it out quite a bit. He's like, "Oh, that guy's looking puffy. Oh, his skin is looking smooth." And it's like you know what?
You're a mean person.
but you see in Joss Whedon's cut where it's like, you see a healthy. You see a healthy. Sorry, the dog's I think peeing somewhere. Oh, no. You hear a healthy Bruce Wayne, and then the next shot, he's looking different.
Yeah.
So in this, to see Ben Affleck back and healthy, like everything worked better with him. Like in the end battle, he was present in the entire thing. He just doesn't disappear, and he made things like the gods, the superpowers. They're taking care of the main stuff. He's just dealing with the foot soldiers all around the base, keeping them safe so they can do what they need to do. Like he's not trying to take charge. He knows I'm out of my league at this point.
Right.
They're doing the heavy lifting. I'm just doing this stuff on the outside. Like little moments, like he's using that cannon to fire on everybody, and then he puts his bomb on it to blow it up. That to me is Batman. He wouldn't leave that thing there so that someone else could use it again against him. Like those character moments, and then the end scene, which was one of my favorite scenes. He wakes up, and it's a parallel to BVS. He's alone, so he's not some random woman. He's not drinking. He's not on pills. He looks healthy. Like Ben Affleck in that last scene looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he did.
Slimmed down, the shot on Martian Manhunter going, your mother and father would be proud of you. It's like, I hope. Like that just hit me. And people are like, well, how does Manhunter know this? I'm like, well, Manhunter's a telepath, so he would know that. Manhunter's probably been on Earth for decades, and he's a detective. He's studying these people.
Yeah.
Some people need that spelled out. I don't need it spelled out.
Right.
Bro, I get you. I get if you do.
It's
but
not
then like
right.
but then the little moments, like one of my favorite scenes, and it would have been cut if this was theatrical, was Bruce after he met Alfred or after he met Arthur and walking with Alfred. Just that little interaction with the two of them. He's like,
on the plane.
He's like, I can't do this. I'm failing. And he's like, well, maybe a guy dresses up like a bat shouldn't be, leading a team. Like those moments would have been cut in a theatrical cut. And I'm so glad they're there. So I 100%. And like John, like you said, they reshot the Deathstroke Luthor scene. I'm like, oh, I guess Zack Snyder, but the dialogue was different because they knew they were going into his film. Yeah. And the fact that like to think of a Zack Snyder or Ben Affleck directed Deathstroke movie, I mean, that we're not going to get that now. That's upsetting. That's upsetting.
And to jump in again, really fast here, because I imagine we're not going to dedicate an entire section to Alfred. Jeremy Irons.
Oh,
come on, man!
Arguably the best Alfred. You could argue the best.
You could argue.
At this point, I would fully agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, the scene in the tunnels, when Cyborg goes into the Nightcrawler. And I don't know if it was because Cyborg wasn't upside down in this version, that he's in a cockpit with some cracked glass, but that, thanks, Alfred, I'll take it from here. Jeremy Irons' response, which that line was always great. That was always a killer, funny line. But it just works so much more because you see the state that the Nightcrawler is in right side up. Yeah. And Jeremy, sorry, do I know you? That hit me so hard, and I've seen the theatrical cut of Justice League a bunch.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I love the fact of Bruce's arc at the end, where like Martian Manhunter, and he's not worried. He's not like an alien. He's like, oh, you're an alien flying there. Okay, well, good to have you here. Like he's used to this now of this world. His world is expanded, and
And Alfred Diana makes her own tea. God damn it!
Wasn't that brilliant?
I mean, that seemed.
That Alfred Diana tea scene was good. I was down for that. I was all about that scene.
I love when they came back. He called her mom.
You see that?
Fantastic!
You guys saw that.
Yeah.
And in the Whedon cut, that film, that scene is somewhat in there. It's the two of them looking at the computer with Victor reaching out. Like, why do you cut and change that? Like, I get the other stuff that Whedon had to change, but for that scene, why change that? Was it just that's a Snyder thing, and I don't like it. I don't think it's funny. So I'm doing my thing.
That is one of the scenes because he references the lake where Gal is telling Ben Affleck all the stuff that he needs to know about Darkseid, or not Darkseid, about Steppenwolf, talking about everything that came before. Like it was a different setup. And that is one of the scenes for that version that I thought actually worked really well. I really liked the way Cyborg's dialogue was portrayed in the text on screen. I actually thought that worked well. But this version that would have made no sense. Like, and that Cyborg was a different Cyborg. I mean, this guy's not going to have a conversation with you. It's more just get here now. What's up?
Okay, so this is fuck Q keeps coming after me here. Like, I appreciate your cute little name, but listen, I read the Super Chats and the Streamlabs for about 30 minutes. If you missed the beginning of the show or halfway through the show when we did that, we'll jump back into those after we talk about one more character. Thanks for the advice. I appreciate it. All right, so let's jump into Wonder Woman now.
That's the guy that's a fan of mine on the Winter Soldier review show.
Yeah,
I think he's my fan.
Yeah, he's got to watch.
I think he came at me.
He's coming at me, but I'm telling fuck you. Like, go back and watch the 25 minutes we went on Streamlabs Super Chats. I stopped because we had 10, wanted people to send more stuff in, and we'll circle back. Be patient. There's a lot to talk about here. All right, Wonder Woman overall. What did you guys think of Wonder Woman overall and how she was presented here? We got more with the Amazonians. We got more with Connie Nielsen, who was badass throughout this whole thing. The fights, we got to see what Zack Snyder was talking about with the Amazons. We got to see them in their full awesomeness, fighting, battling, knocking out shit. You know, it wasn't done in a sexual manner or over-sexualized manner. I thought it was just a bunch of badass women handling business, and they sadly had to pass off that temple. And then later, of course, a few seconds later, Steppenwolf hasn't died with his minions, and they had that massive battle out on the field. Michael, I go to you on this one. Wonder Woman, thoughts, feelings, opinions, muscles.
I think Diana came out probably best. She came out great in the Whedon cut. She comes out great in this. I think partially that's due to Gal's great. Wonder Woman's great. We all love Wonder Woman. She does a great job. She owns the role. I think the other part is that she was one of the ones that got a full movie. Like, she came in, like, Batman vs Superman came out, introduced us to Wonder Woman. We got a little hint of her. Then we had an entire movie to take a step back, get to know her story, get to know who she is, get to know Themyscira, get to know all of this. So what works really well in Zack Snyder's Justice League is that we don't need to know a lot about her. She can dive right in and be a part of the action and dive into the story, and we don't need any explanation because we know already. And the same goes for Themyscira, the Amazons, Hippolyta, like everybody. Like, we just dive right in. The Amazons have been watching a mother box. Got it. I saw a whole movie. I know why they're badass. Of course they have a mother box.
Yeah.
And so everything surrounding Wonder Woman, the way that her interplay with Bruce, her gentleness with Cyborg, her badassery when she's fighting, like, everything doesn't require a lot of explanation because we already knew her going in, so we just got to have fun with her. I particularly loved the extended sequence of her going into the cave and fucking going full Tomb Raider.
Oh my god!
And then going into that big room and seeing all of the hieroglyphics of Darkseid and Apocalypse and the mother boxes. Like, I thought that was great. I'm super here for Diana Themyscira Indiana Jones movie. Like, I'd watch it. Like, it was great. So, like, I think she probably came off the best because out of everything that DC's done, I think she is the best.
Okay, fair enough. Evan Walker points out she didn't have to spend the whole movie talking about her ex-boyfriend. That's true. We did get one reference to him, but didn't spend the whole movie talking about it. We got to see, and then we got to see her saving those children as well, Kalinowski. I mean, that super speed blocking the bullet shit from what's his face from Game of Thrones, I thought was absolutely awesome. And Mike and I had a text exchange about a particular a drawing that was put out on Twitter where they showed blood on all these walls, and the young girl I want to be like you one day. I liked that moment.
All I'm saying is and again, this is a Snyder thing. It's a not quite choosing the moment for your heartfelt thing. Like, I love it. I would take everything that Diana did in this movie over Wonder Woman 84 any day of the week and twice on Tuesday. 1,000 times.
I like Wonder Woman 84.
It was just that she, as far as I can tell, literally vaporized a dude.
Yes.
He blew out an entire window. Yeah. And then the camera's not turned to it, but, like, she looks at and all I could think of is she's looking at these kids is like, there's some bad guy guts over there. And that girl's like, can I be just like you? And I'm like, she's going to grow up to be a serial killer.
No.
Look, and this was not a me sitting angry at the TV going, that goddamn Zack Snyder. I was giggling. I was like, that's kind of funny. I was like, had they just cut to the scene out by rescue workers and wrapping people in blankets, and the girl ran up to her and said, "Can I be like you?" And she said, "You can be whatever you want to be." No, you literally, I'm just saying, it would have just been that's lovely. And this way, I'm clearly not the only one who noticed it, because then I go on Twitter and somebody made a cartoon of bad guy guts.
Yeah.
It's sort of the textbook definition of a disproportionate response. I mean, he was beaten.
Look, he deserved to be vaporized. Deserved to be vaporized.
All right. But
Wonder Woman will always give you the chance. That guy had the chance. He unloaded a clip and then he went back for another one. She's like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
Here
When he reloaded, when Roose Bolton reloaded the fucking
reloads.
He asked for the vaporization.
Yeah. Listen,
do we think she needed to take out the wall of a building to take this guy out?
Hey, what are you gonna do?
Business. She's a warrior.
She's a warrior, right?
I can guarantee you the police force was not happy that chunks of cement were raining down on their cars.
The guy said 4 city blocks are going to be vaporized. She knocked out half an office building.
I am not
better than
arguing.
Floor.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
she's
right.
disproportionate. Very
It's better than those
proportionate.
cops dying. Yeah, go ahead.
I am not arguing that the dude didn't deserve to die. I'm not arguing that Wonder Woman isn't a badass warrior who kills people, because she is. I'm not arguing that Wonder Woman should not inspire little girls or little boys, because she should. I'm just saying that I watched the movie and I was like, is there a dead, bloody guy behind Wonder Woman right now? That's all I wondered.
Mike, let me ask you
There's a
this.
blood stain from when she
But,
tossed
like,
that one dude.
Let me ask
The
you
one
this, Mike.
dude, yeah.
And this is back and forth we have with each other. A very similar scene happened in Wonder Woman. She destroys the town of Veld, all the Nazis. She literally threw a tank on people. And then the townspeople are all hugging her. So literally there are bodies all around them, but we're not... For some reason, this girl decided to be fixated and do a drawing on it, but didn't do a drawing in that film. So when I find people that are... and this is not you, Michael. This is not you, because you didn't draw it. There are people that view a Zack Snyder film differently with a little bit harsher lens than, say, Wonder Woman. I feel like a lot of people, like this person in particular, they were like, Wonder Woman comes out, she's got those rose-colored glasses on. Zack Snyder film comes out, and she's the girl from Spy Kids with the things, and then the magnifying glass pops up, and they're just picking apart every scene. So
again,
that's why I get a little.
I think we're spending way too much time on the bloody bad guy. But
Well, I was just going to touch on it, but go ahead.
The difference is that, and again, it's a nice moment. Yeah. Yes, Wonder Woman saves the villagers. The villagers come out and hug her, and you just saved us from Nazi occupation. Cool, yeah, I'd hug her too. She just saved the village. Right. It was the adorableness of the moment. And again, I'm not saying this this was horrible. Zack Snyder's the worst. It was
Yes, you are.
There is this super adorable, sweet moment. And there is a moment where badass Amazon warrior vaporizes a bad guy and blows out an entire wall. Right. And normally, there's a little bit in the screenwriting of it all. Okay. There's a little bit of space between, here's my badass warrior moment. Here's my sweet moment. To go, bah, kill you. Yes, you be whatever you want to be. They're just so close to each other that it's funny.
But Vogel, to your point, just real quick, it's a 4-hour movie. They got to move through it. They can't have time to set up another scene and go on. So he's consolidating time.
I'd like to dive in on this. She is an Amazon warrior. She comes from women who know about blood and death almost from birth. And so to her, this is a natural thing. To her, speaking to that young girl is like speaking to a young Amazonian warrior on her island. It's saying to her, yeah, you can be anything you want to be. You can kill motherfuckers just like I did if you're strong and you're powerful and you're a warrior. Because that's what she comes from. So why would she be I
want to be really clear here.
Can I finish? Can I adapt? Let me adapt to my message to this young British girl, who might not be. No, she's like, I'm a badass warrior. This is what I did. Just like when in the Wonder Woman movie, the first one, I run up and I'm imitating everybody who's fighting. In Wonder Woman 84, I'm getting involved in this obstacle course at a young age. This to her is like, no, because we've seen, and I think it's valid, we've seen decades of young boys loving these heroes who kill villains, who do whatever to villains. We've seen in comics all over the place. So why should it be wrong for a young girl to have this moment with Wonder Woman as well, even if she vaporized a dude? I don't see it.
It is. I don't hate the moment. I thought it was funny.
You just want to put a gap in between.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to explain to you why people online responded. Forget whether I think it's even good or not.
I know why they did it, and I get your point. I get your point. I do. Yeah, I mean, if you're writing this and you have a chance, as Kalinowski said, if you have a chance to bring back Gal Gadot, bring back all those actors, and put them down in another setup with a young girl with a little, blanket over her, and they have that. Sure, you could do that, but they don't have the time to do that. He shot what he shot. And they put that in the movie. Yes, do I think it was a bit excessive? I do. But then logically, I also think this is an Amazonian woman handling some business, and he gave that motherfucker a chance, and he loaded up again. So, you don't trust the house Bolton for anything. Blow them the fuck up is what I'm saying. Anyway, let's.
Let me jump because I haven't given my Wonder Woman.
Sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
So all the positives, like I thought Gal consistently is doing a really, really good job. There are two negatives that I have to point out here for me that drove me up the wall.
Okay.
So Gal Gadot as a performer, she is a growing performer. I do not think she is strong behind a microphone when she has to give the whole backstory of Darkseid. I think when she's just recording dialogue, it's a little wooden. It really kind of took me out of that moment, which I was really wanting to enjoy because I wanted to see Darkseid for the first time.
Right.
Also, the new music cue whenever she shows up, or the Amazons with that. Hated that. Oh my gosh, it was nails down a chalkboard. Every time she
you like the Hans Zimmer beats with Superman. Those are cues that are musical cues that are connected to that character. Why did that one?
No. They didn't use. Did they use chorus in Wonder Woman, or did they use chorus in BVS? I don't think they did.
She's a warrior. It's her music.
Fantastic. I didn't like it.
Used it in 300, but I get it.
I didn't.
It didn't work. Yeah.
I didn't like it to the point.
And you're not alone.
It took me out of it. I mean, like even in the finale when the parademons are all over the Batmobile, when she shows up, it's like, for God's sake, put the reins on Junkie XL. Make him Junkie Medium for this one theme, please.
We didn't even need to address that joke. Jesus God, he's a writer. Okay. It's like the Batman theme. It's the Superman theme. Whenever they show up, you want that music. It's the James Bond theme. You want that theme to go with them. And
do you want to hear when she's in slow motion touching the sword? You don't want to.
You literally take the chorus out.
Okay.
Take the chorus out. Her theme that has been established in two movies.
If it doesn't work,
take the chorus out.
I liked it, but I get if it didn't work because he used that all through 300. That chorus was used all through 300. And so, so to me it worked, but I totally understand because you're not alone. Half people really hated it online. The other half enjoyed it. So that's a totally fair judgment to have. All right, let's get into some Streamlabs Super Chats before Fuck You kills me. Let's see where we lay them on. And I say that with all kinds of love, brother. Where were we here? I don't remember where we left off here. Here we go. Okay, there we go. All right, we're back up to all. Let's see here. Derek Johnson says, before Lord of the Rings was The Hobbit. Just saying there was groundwork laid out before. Still love you, Kalinowski.
But no, to the films, there wasn't. We didn't see The Hobbit before.
Right, Hobbit was after Lord of the Rings.
Sure, the books, sure, but to people like me, I never read those books. I went into those films blind in 2001. I didn't know about a Hobbit book. I knew there was a Hobbit book. I just didn't know the order and all this for that. So a lot of people, that's like John and everyone says, this was my first introductions to these characters. And I love Lord of the Rings. Fell in love with it.
Fuck Q actually sent us one. He said, will Beale get a story credit? Do you think his JL movie from 2011 that was incorporated into Zack Snyder's Justice League, his movie had Darkseid and Apocalypse's World, etc. Do you think Will Beale should have gotten a story credit? Oh, sorry. He said, Will Beale got a story credit. Do you think his JL movie that was incorporated, his movie at Darkseid? What do you guys think about that? Thoughts? Any thoughts?
I mean, they would have used part of it. I mean, that's why he got the story credit.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Okay. All right.
There's an actual specific, like, a lot of times when you have a writer who wrote a draft of something, if it goes to arbitration, like there's a percentage rule. Like it's like if there's this much percentage, and it's not a huge, it doesn't have to be 50%, whatever, they need a story credit. So a lot of times, if someone wrote something and you're keeping any piece of it at all, you're like, you know what, they get a story credit. Like we don't even want to get into this.
Yep, that makes sense. All right, what happens first? Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 or Kalinowski dropping to 15th in the draft? What the fuck? What the
He came
fuck?
on. I was on Gucciverse the other night, and someone was like, "Hey, Kalinowski, they think about you. If you were in the draft next year, you'd go 15." And I went livid. I was like, "You think a 4-time champion is going to go 15th? You're out of your damn mind." I go round one, 15th, motherfucker.
Yeah,
I see you down there. 15. I got your 15 right here.
Oh, Matthew Cassidy said that one demon hit Flash with a 1 in a million shot. LOL. Well,
I mean, look, I was like, that guy, I was like, that parademon, every stormtrooper in the world sat up and was like, I wish I could shoot like that. Like, you, I think I actually, did I text you, Shannon? I think like I was watching it and I just wrote, the parademon shot Barry?
it isn't just the heroes that get lucky every once in a while. I think that's fair to balance out the world.
To that point, that is the guy that's firing. He keeps firing, and Barry just keeps running.
He does.
He keeps getting the same, like going like in moving forward with this fire rate. So he does eventually get him. It's only a matter of time.
Doug Parademon, you shall be known as the greatest parademon of us all.
I like this. Listen, you've got a guy going, I'm running faster than I've ever run before. I run faster. I can turn back time. I run so fast.
But if you still hold out a stick, he's going to trip over it.
And the parademon is shooting like he's at Six Flags. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, I got him. Hey guys, I got the guy.
See, there it is. You didn't see
Oh my God! No, he was Luke in the Falcon. Hey, I got him! I got him!
Yeah, how come it's okay with Luke to do it, but the parademon can't do it? That's
We
fucked
didn't
up.
see the parademon next to him. That's one of the things that didn't make the cut. He's like, great kid, don't get cocky.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, I want the whole backstory of that parademon. That parademon was shooting, and he just heard a voice in his head, and he was like, use the force, Doug. He did it, and he did it.
Just breathe, Doug. Just breathe, Doug. All right, Derek Johnson says, gotta sell it to kids. Rocha, by the way, I love you guys. You're sapping my money tonight. Well, thank you, Derek. That's very kind. William Jones says, you can't have a 4-hour JL movie in a theater. The movie would cost way too much and not be able to recoup the budget if it was limited screenings due to being a 4-hour movie. I actually totally fucking disagree with that concept.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. They said the same shit about Titanic. All these articles, go back to 1997, read all the articles. I can't believe the studio's dropping a 3-hour movie. Nobody gives a shit about a ship from back in the 1900s sinking. Everybody knows the story. Nobody's going to come see it. This could be his biggest flop ever. It made a fucking $1 billion. I guarantee you, if you cut out the nightmare sequence, right, and you just drop the movie as is and end with the Martian Manhunter Ben Affleck moment, I think this movie movie totally makes $1 billion. I think theaters stay open longer, start screenings at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. or something like that. If enough people and the reviews are so great, people will come. Don't ever underestimate people and their desire to spend a lot of money for shit that they love.
Rocha, let me ask you this, because I don't remember Titanic. I mean, I remember seeing it, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
So there's a boat. There's a boat, and it's going through the
I got
ocean.
It. And paint me like you're French girls there.
Yeah.
I got it.
There you go.
Hey-o.
Because Snyder has even said in Junkie XL had a 10-minute intermission music, and they were playing the intermission. Did Titanic do an intermission or no?
No, Titanic went all the way through. Yep.
I think an intermission would be great for Justice, because you don't want to get up and like, I don't want to miss anything. When's the time to go? If you know you get intermission, and how many times? I guess so. I could see
you could have totally done it. I just go ahead, Mike. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean an intermission. It would make the movie even longer, and the theaters want to just show the movie as many times as they can. So it does. I will say to Johnny's point, like if you got rid of that nightmare sequence, and
that's 15 minutes right there.
Yeah, that's 15. Like you start to just chunk it. I think if you can get down to, I think if you could have gotten that movie down to 3 hours, 3 hours 10, 3 hours 15, maybe. Maybe.
Look, Michael, you and I don't remember if Shannon came with us. Remember, we went to see Matrix Reloaded at 5 a.m. in the morning in LA. So these theaters are willing to open movies or open at certain times or stay open certain times if the demand is there. And if the demand was there, you can do it. People are like, not a 4-hour movie. Bullshit. You just open a theater an hour or two earlier than you normally do and close it an hour or two or normal. And you know what? You're getting so many people coming through the turnstiles, you can afford to pay the staff, extra staff. So
I'm glad I'm not working at your theater. I got to get my sleep.
I know you do. I know you do. All right. Let's see. Derek Johnson says, can we fix Ezra Miller's running? Has he never ran before? It's like he's swimming instead of running. Okay, let's address the Flash now here at this moment.
Yeah, good segue.
Let's talk about it. What did you guys think about the Flash stuff? Ezra Miller. Certainly there's problematic issues with Ezra Kalinowski and all of that. But did you like what we got from him? More with him and Billy Crudup. More of his story about more of the jokes with the team, the Iris West scene. Kiersey's gorgeous, by the way. Didn't say a damn word in that movie. Or it said a few, but like still, just incredible to see the connection.
I don't even remember she said anything.
Maybe she did. So maybe she
come on, trying to start the car.
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
But what did you think about how they handled Flash?
Let me tell you something, guys. Over all the characters, after 2017's Justice League, I was not on board with him. I was like, oh, I don't like this actor in the role. I don't like what they're doing. I don't know if to see him in this. He's going to be a whole movie by himself as the lead. Like just brunch thing. I'm like, what's going on here with this? And you just see what would work in an MCU film. And that brunch scene, if you had a character go through that moment, and we've seen moments like that, it works beautifully. And we laugh, we enjoy the hell out of it. But in this, what they'd already established, it just didn't work. And I thought there were just, things that I did like in the film. Now I see that I don't like with the stuff with Cyborg and digging up the grave and the Pet Cemetery stuff, which at the time, I did enjoy it, but I'm like, oh, I see the different choices. And in this film, he's like night and day to me. I mean, to use your guys' writers' terms, the meet cute with the two of them. In the 2-3 minute scene, they set up Barry's who he is, what he does, how his powers work, his future with this girl. I love the music. I know people have problems with music, but that music cue hits so perfectly. And then the hot dogs come in, and I'm like, uh-oh, what's this going to be? Yeah. And then to see the playoff with the dog, I loved it. My thought was like just where my head went, because what I'm used to with what we got in the 2017 is like, he can take the hot dog to her face and just go up her face with it or something, like messing with her. I just like, what's going on? I didn't know what to expect because I had what we saw before with the character. So what's he going to do? But then to see where it played off with the, and then I got to say this, his final moments building to it, with the Speed Force and never wanting to break the rule of what he wants to have. And then to sit there and he does the thing to his father, like, whatever you hear, Dad, whatever and he's talking to his dad, like, I did it. I'm one of the best. Like, and the way he Speed Forces and the world starts rebuilding around him, that to me is going to go down as one of my favorite comic book moments of all time. When Batman crashing through the skylight in Batman 89, stuff like that, the Avengers assembling for the first time, that's going to be up there with one of the greatest for me, just action beats of a comic book of all time. Okay. So, and I'm now excited to see his film. I'm like, this is the Flash going forward. I can't wait to see him and Iris together. I cannot wait to see the two of them because she was let go from the movie originally and now is being brought back. So I'm on board.
Yeah. Sasha Calle, Supergirl as well, being a part of this. We'll be excited to see how she's weaved in as well.
That's
Shannon,
right.
What'd you think of Flash? What'd you think of his running style?
The running, it does look kind of weird. I have to think that if you can run that fast, that maybe extending your arms maybe that gets you a little more speed. I don't know. It's not something I'm willing to try in public. But the thing with Ezra Miller is I do think he's a very talented performer. It's a Ben Affleck situation with me. I'm like, you're not the guy. Like, you're doing a really good job. You're doing a really, really good job with what you've been given, but you're just not the guy. That iteration just doesn't seem like Barry Allen to me. I mean, I think it almost seems a little more Wally West-ish. But the effects in that the scene where he saves Iris, my God, that was incredible. Like, I don't know why the shoes spontaneously combust and the rest of the clothes don't. It doesn't matter.
That's where the friction is on the ground.
Okay.
I think. I mean,
sure. The hot dog thing, I was like, it was played for laughs. I mean, that was a comedic moment. Like they did that. They did that for a laugh. I don't think it was the strongest choice. I think there was a way to do it to keep him focused on Iris, to make that connection a little more earnest and a little more genuine. And if he grabs one at the last second, like I thought he was going to eat it because it's like, oh, he's got the super high metabolism. Like he has to eat. That is what I thought was going to happen. The Speed Force moments at the end. Really, really impressive. And close to the end of the movie, like I was taking breaks in between some of the chapters. I was running on fumes at that point. And that moment, oh my God, I don't want to get upset again.
Do it again. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh boy.
That moment where don't joke, it's gonna happen.
All right, we're here, buddy.
that moment where he's talking to his dad. Like, good God. And then seeing all the heroes kind of form back. I mean, all right, it's there, but I think I got it beat.
Okay. No, but tell us more about it.
Seeing the heroes form back. I mean, that was just awesome. That was so satisfying. And I do like the relationship that he has with Billy Crudup.
Yes.
And it's a shame that Billy Crudup's not going to be in that. So over, like, to sum up, did a great job. Still not the guy for the role for me.
Yeah, fine. M1 says Boner would have eaten that hot dog. Yep, absolutely. Boner would have absolutely eaten the hot dog. Michael, tell us about your feelings on the Flash situation, Ezra Miller in the film.
I like Ezra Miller as the Flash. Like, I think he's really good. I think he's charming. I think he's the light, fun. He's the most light, fun part of the league. I think his facial expressions are really great. Like, just really great. Like, just the moments of like when he is like especially like when Superman comes back and he sees Superman turning and he's never seen anyone turn that fast to keep up with him. Yeah. And he's like, fuck. Like, it's great. This is like my best of Zack Snyder, worst of Zack Snyder. Like the entire Iris Barry meet thing. Everything you guys all said is right. It's beautifully shot. It's a gorgeous moment. I'm sitting here watching it and I'm like, fuck, man. You know what? I gotta give it to Snyder. Like, this is great. Like, this is a perfect superhero moment. This is a perfect moment where he meets Iris, and then those hot dogs fell out of the sky, and I was like, oh, come the fuck on. And to Shannon's point, and not to like open up the Wonder Woman little girl moment again, but this is the exact same thing as that Wonder Woman can I be like you moment, which is Shannon nailed it. It's like putting this hot dog moment in the middle of, like, you got this song playing, he's looking at the girl who's gonna be the love of his life, and then he's like, but hot dog. Like, it's like, had you just had the Iris moment here, and then as he was leaving did the hot dog, would have been great. It would have been a perfect moment. But like just putting it in the middle like that was an interesting choice that, like, for a lot of people was like, I read a whole article about we've got to talk about the hot dogs before.
Don't you see it then, Mike, as the fact that, okay, he knows, like, he needs the jobs to get his dad to go and get this the degree. His brain operates on a much different level because he's constantly in 50 different places at once. So he's constantly, I saw that as like, I got this, I got to go back to this, I got this, I get this. Let me slow down for a second with this girl. That moment then with the hair was just beautiful. And he's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to save her, but I got to do this. He's constantly moving.
Yeah, and you can justify it, and that is a justifiable reason. But the screenwriter and the director are making the choice, not Barry Allen, who's a super speedster. And as a screenwriter, you go, I want to take this Iris moment and make it a thing, and then I'm going to do a funny hot dog moment. To do it the other way makes it weird. I will say, because I want to get to the good part, which is, I do think that Barry running backwards in time at the end of the movie, as everything reforms after the explosion, is probably one of the coolest superhero moments I've ever seen, and one of the best illustrations of super speed, going backwards in time, all of it. So I was watching it, and kind of like Shannon at that point, I was like, just kind of like laying on the couch, open my arms to the sky, just kind of like, someone kill me. I'm running on fumes at this point. And then that part happened, and I was like, that's fucking great. That is great. It was awesome.
I agree. It was better than Superman turning the world back around and Richard Donner.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I did. And I liked it. I thought it was better than that. And I will say also, I love the way he shattered the fucking window when he was
awesome.
Iris, right?
So cool.
And to me, as good as what they did with Boner in the X-Men movies when he's doing his running, which is great.
It's awesome.
I mean, that is great. This kind of topped that, in my opinion, for the situation they put it in. I like the lightning around him. I like that he's a kid who's not afraid to be. I'm so happy they took that bullshit out. I don't know if I can save people. I don't know.
Right.
Nah, dude, you're a fucking hero. He jumped at the chance to be a part of this team. He didn't even have to be asked twice. And so why would he hesitate to be a hero if he jumped at the chance to be a part of them? So I love that they got rid of that shit that Joss did in that decision. And overall, I know we need an explanation about what happened with that girl. I want to find out because that account was taken down. The video was taken down. And we need to find out if this was a setup or a real thing. And we need some explanation at some point because I won't feel comfortable, even though I enjoyed the shit out of Ezra Miller as Flash, until we address that situation, in my opinion. And maybe down the road we will. I don't know. But yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Roxy and I still talk about this because, it's like what happened. There was never an addressment of it. It was never, we don't know. I was one of the minds like knowing what was going on, who he is. I think maybe it was a joke, but there was never talk. There was never talk of him taking off the project. But again, and that's for a lot of people, John. I think a lot of people. McClung, you brought up a great point because I kind of find the same way. He's not Barry Allen. Like Barry Allen to me is the guy with the blonde hair, the kind of it's a different take. And he's more Bart Allen, like even more so than Wally West. I see him more as a Bart Allen.
Okay.
But I know Barry's the name that's more popular.
Right.
And one thing I wanted to say, and one thing this movie did that a lot of people had a problem with, like in other films and superheroes in general, like of the heroes calling themselves by their names. Like that time, a lot of times they're like, why are they so afraid to say the name Wonder Woman? And Barry constantly in this film, where I was like, oh wow, he's calling him Superman. He's calling him her Wonder Woman. It was a critique that happened, I think, with Wonder Woman 84, where people were upset that they're not calling her Wonder Woman. I think it was actually a comic writer that was saying it on Twitter. Like, why are these superheroes so afraid to use their names? And it's like, so to see him call her Wonder Woman, Superman, I was like, that's pretty cool. Just a little thing.
And they cut that out, right, from the Joss.
Yeah, that was not in the Joss Whedon thing.
Because he says, we're using our real names now.
Yeah.
I respect our friend Mark Sloan a lot. He's had a lot of complaints about the movie. Said, told him, I was running on fumes and stuff. But you're the same motherfucker, Mark, who will watch Lord of the Rings Extended Edition, not be bored, and I'm on fumes. I'm stopping at multiple times. I'm falling asleep when I'm watching 3 hours of 4 diminutive people running across a goddamn shire. Yet again, it does get boring. All right, I just want to make sure I address that with our friend.
Rocha, anytime you want to watch it, do what I do and put it at 1.5 times speed. Same film. Same film. About 30 minutes shorter.
To be fair, if you put the Zack Snyder movie at about 2 times the speed, then the slow motion scenes would just be normal speed.
My
and it
joke
would be fine.
and you did what you're on. My joke worked. Move on. Here we go.
All right, let's get to these because there's so many. There's so many that have come through. So we're gonna power through a lot of these super chats. By the way, there's 864 of you watching us right now. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button. Please, subscribe to the channel down below. There's going to be so much content coming from the channel going forward. And we do the Geek Buddies show every week. Every week we talk about something, and we're reviewing Falcon and Winter Soldier. If you haven't watched our review of episode 1, that is up now on this channel right now. Also on our podcast feed. The Geek Buddies has their own podcast feed, so you don't have to watch our pretty faces. You can just listen to us while you're tooling around the house watching Zack Snyder's Justice League yet again. All right, let's see where we left off here. Bubba, do you feel like a game we fix? Okay, one of my this is from NLSFC96. Is one of my favorite parts is when they realize they can bring back Soups and the Hans Zimmer music cues with a vision of Superman. Goosebumps. Yeah,
beautiful scene. Beautiful scene.
Yep, agreed 1,000%. Daniel Rodriguez says, do the 4 hours fly by? Is HBO Max worth it? I would say they fly by. Certainly Mark Sloan, Mike Vogel, and Shannon McClung don't think it flies by. Do you think it flew by, Kalinowski, for you?
Yep, and I watched it last night again. I think I've seen it 4 times now. And like Shannon, who's...
That's 16 hours!
Dude... Dude, I do.
Oh!
But I'm a night owl. I do it at night. You know, I don't sit here during the middle of the day. Like Shannon not even powered through it. I thought we were going to do like a halfway thing. And she was like, nope. Didn't even have to say, hey, how much longer? Can we stop now? Or no, we just powered through it. It works for me because I'm invested. I wanted to see these characters. These are the characters I love. So this is the world, and I love it. So
if I could buy it in 4K tomorrow, I would buy it.
I can't wait for 4K.
I want it all. I want to watch it over and over and over again.
But that's what makes the chapters so great.
Yeah, right.
Because
Absolutely.
it was the last 3 chapters that I think I watched from beginning to end. And Kalinowski and I were going to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier that night, and I was like, ooh. Yeah. This 4-hour movie is taking me about 6 hours right now.
Once you do get to the team working together, then it's like it clicks into a different gear. I get it. I do get that. But again, the chapters work wonderful.
Okay. Derek Johnson says, I respect you guys, but you're killing my bank account tonight. LMAOA. Hey, you're standing in. Thank you, Derek. It's very kind. Mark Sloan stoning. Thank you, Mark. Love y'all. McClung, feel you. But biggest question, Soups. Black suit or traditional? Yeah, we certainly got the black suit all over this movie, which I fucking loved. Gentlemen, did you... And Michael, I go to you first. You're the biggest Superman fan on this panel. Did you like seeing the black suit, or were you missing the other suit? Vogel?
I thought the black suit looked nice. Okay. I wished that there had been more of a reason for a black suit, but I mean, it was cool. Like, he was like, I just came back from the dead. I'm feeling kind of, dark. Maybe I'll switch things up a little bit. It's a fashion statement. That's cool. It's a good reason, I guess. But like, I love the classic suit. It was nice to see something different. It would have been nice if there had been more of a reason for it, but it looked cool.
Okay. Gentlemen, did you guys like the black suit? Shannon Kalinowski?
I mean, it looked great. Ultimately, I don't think it... I didn't care what he was wearing. I just wanted. I was happy the way that they brought him back, and that the sequences with him at the end just worked so great. I mean, versus the other one. Truly some terrible lines in the Justice League. But yeah, I mean, I'm with Vogel. Like, it would have been nice. I just sort of assumed that he was going to wear the black suit because the other one had a giant hole in the S from the end of Batman versus Superman. But he does pass a blue and red suit.
Yeah, Kalinowski?
I took it as, one, knowing what Snyder wanted, and the 2 and the 3, and he would have earned back the red and blue suit. But one, I took it as he's walking down that hall, and then we hear the dialogue for Man of Steel with both his fathers coming from both sides. And then
awesome
they added a few new lines that weren't in the originals, like the whole "Time to Fly, Son."
Yeah,
like those are 2 new. There were a couple new lines from Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe. So for me, the black suit is the regeneration suit, and it's also his father's suit that he wears in Man of Steel. He had the black undersuit in that film before he puts the armor on top of it. So it's his father's suit. I mean, I took it as that, and then he does fly right up to the sun and does the whole regeneration with the sun to get more power. So I just took it as it's the regeneration suit. It's the nod to that.
But
and now
again,
Michael, it's a 4-hour film. Do we need a scene of Keelix coming up and going, well, Kal-El, this suit will add to your cells and this and that? It's like, it's a 4-hour film, Michael. Don't need it. You can't have it,
but
Michael.
I think you
just got to assume something, Michael. We have to assume it, infer. We have to infer, Michael. It's 4-hour film at this point. Do we need
Mister, I needed a timestamp in a Winter Soldier moment. Calm down for a minute.
Oh, I'm never gonna live that down, am I? Oh,
I'm just saying, like, look, this is something that just like it always does. If you like a movie and you want to make a leap in logic that says, I think that is because of this, and that works for you, that is super valid. Like, if for you, you're like, I feel like that's the regeneration suit, and he put it on, and he flew up to Sun, that's super cool. Happy for you. But from a movie-making standpoint, to do that, like, either there's not a reason for it, and he just put on a black suit, which is fine, or there is a reason for it, and if there's a reason for it, it should be in the movie. Like, it's just, that is if you want someone who doesn't know that there's a regeneration suit, doesn't know that Superman has some special suit that helps him regain his powers faster or whatever, you want them to have the experience that you had as a comic book reader. So you want somebody in the movie to say, hey, you know what? You should put this one on because it'll do it. And it's one line, and you're good. Like, that's all that there is. And it's like, it's fine that they didn't. Like, it works, and it's a cool look, and it's great that he's wearing the suit. But for the people that wanted some more context, it would have been nice.
Okay, fair. All right, let's keep going here. Philly G says, lots of love to you guys. Did any of you see that the actress, Amanda Maud, who played the waitress that Cyborg helped, tweeted out to people to see if she was in the Snyder Cut, since she couldn't view it wherever she was. She's getting lots of love now. Go ahead.
That was awesome. Yeah,
I love that.
I fully had a Leonardo DiCaprio. I fully had a Leonardo DiCaprio moment. Like, I was watching the movie, and then he saw the footage of the waitress, and I pointed. I'm like, she's on Twitter. She's asking.
Yeah, I love that moment. That was such a sweet moment. And I think Dan Murrell tweeted out pictures from that scene going, why would you ever cut this moment from the movie? And I agree 1,000%. Yeah. Gentleman Scientist says, good evening, gents. How beautiful was Flash running back in time? I don't think I've ever seen time travel depicted quite like that before. Do you think we saw it from Flash's perspective, that running back in time looks like rewinding events? Thanks. Yeah, what do you guys think? Was it from Flash's perspective?
I think so. I think because everyone's dead at that point as well. I mean, that's like the Speed Force. We've never seen it kind of. Yeah. I mean, they do it on the show a lot and on the CW, but this Speed Force was like, it was like in the middle of it. It's hard to describe as space and time. So it was his idea of it. Like you said, it's beautiful and it made sense. I'll say this: time travel is always wonky. You're like, what happens? He's got to run backwards and he does this. It was like, this was a visual explanation of the Speed Force that worked for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I think to answer the question, I think that what makes it really work as a beautiful moment, in addition to just looking amazing and being a cool representation, is that I do think it's Barry's perspective. I think that we're in that emotional moment, we are watching it the way that Barry is seeing it, and Barry is watching things get reformed as he runs towards them, including his friends and teammates. I think it's like I do think it might be the single most powerful moment in the movie for me.
Wow.
That's
a strong statement. Okay. Let's keep going here because we got so many of these. I'm sorry to everybody here. Make sure I'm going to get to everybody. Let's see. Matthew Cassidy says, Ray Fisher, I totally get his frustration. Cyborg was great in Snyder's cut. Aquaman was badass, but looked the bleakest because we've seen Aquaman. Also, Wonder Woman. #respect. Okay. Jonathan Hale says, Parademons seem like real threats this time, less like cannon fodder. I appreciated that. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah,
that's a very good point.
Yeah,
there was a different. Was it a different? You guys will know this better than me. Did Joss have a different design on them, and then they went back to because in Batman versus Superman, even though I don't like that nightmare sequence, the Parademons were creepy looking. Yeah. Then in the Justice League, they were kind of all right, and then this time they looked creepy and cool again. I definitely like this version more.
Agreed.
They used. In the Joss Whedon version, where you saw that one scene in the flashback of the guy turning into a parademon, they mention it. Diana talks about it, but they never show it in this.
Okay.
So I think, and they had much more. Their legs were much more like praying mantis looking, where they were bent at a weird angle. Yes. Yeah, they were much more creepy.
And there was more variety to them as well. They weren't carbon copies. The same one over and over, especially in the tunnel sequence. You can see bigger ones as well.
Yeah.
Respect to Sean Barreto, who's copying all your super chats and putting it in the private chat. I'm also trying to get to your Streamlabs. If you haven't had your Streamlabs read yet, and we might have gone past, please put it in the chat and make it a note. Put Streamlabs, and then Sean, if you could copy it over, I'd appreciate it, brother. Thank you, my man. All right, let's see. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, William Jones says 4 hours is not 3 hours. LOL. I get it, but William, again. People say, do the math. Yes, I did the math. Add 2 hours at the beginning of opening the movie theater. Add 2 hours at the end of the movie theater. You've covered your screenings. All right. Blorg's World says, yeah, if you add 4 hours, you can put the screenings in, especially if you cut out 30 minutes of AMC fucking trailers. All right. Blorg's World said, had this cut of JL been released in 2017, the DCMU would be massively better today. We would have solo films for The Flash, Jon Stewart, Martian Manhunter, and JL, with the JL taking on the Justice Society, or taking on the Injustice Society. Do you guys agree?
Well, I mean, I don't think we were ever getting a Martian Manhunter film. I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah.
I know Green Lantern Corps, they definitely wanted to do.
Right.
It's hard to say because what does a 2.5 hour version of this movie look like? I mean, is it as satisfying? Is it as good?
I don't think so.
It might not have been. So knowing that they were never going to release a 4-hour version, they probably, based off of the response to BVS, they weren't going to release a 3-hour version. I think they would have been lucky to have gotten a 2.5-hour version. It's hard to say. I mean, it could have had a 2.5-hour version, could have had the plot holes that could have derailed it.
Okay, Mike?
We probably also have those next 2 movies that he was talking about at Variety, and that makes me nervous. So I feel like we're probably better off.
See, I disagree. I think...
What?
I'm curious because, you do see around 2016 where the meddling happened. Suicide Squad was a victim of it.
Yes.
And they change. And if, I'm curious, what would you guys have thought? And I've said this kind of on Twitter. What would you have thought if Man of Steel BVS, we knew it was going to be Snyder doing 5 films? And like, guys, this is the 5-film story. We're doing spin-off films of his 5, but
it's a great point.
This is going to be the 5.
Would we have been more, I don't know, more relaxed about it?
Right.
Like, okay, we'll see. Because like Reloaded Revolutions, we knew that was going to be 3. Right. We knew they were shooting back-to-back, so we knew even though the second one sucked, we still felt the third one might redeem it. Right. So maybe you adjust.
And the plan was to go 1 year apart, just come right out, or do like 6 months apart. Like they were going to film them back to back. And would you have gone in and knowing, because in going off of the outline that we do know, 2 takes place and the heroes are off doing their own thing, and they come to Batman's following the anti-life equation, but the heroes are off. So that would have been a time for other heroes' films, like, oh, that's when this takes place in this area. Mm-hmm. So it would have built to the outer universe. But in the story of the 5, it still would have been like, oh, well, that film takes place during this time when the heroes are off doing their own thing. Right. So it's in the past, so we don't know. But
yeah, we'll see. Brendan Gallagher says, I went to see The Irishman in theaters, and that's a 3.5-hour film, and the theater was packed. People will go see it if it's out there. Yeah,
they will.
I agree. Then again, The Irishman didn't make $1 billion. So.
But you guys know this. No great movie is ever too long, and no bad movie is ever too short.
True.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Paradox Pixel says the running scenes in this version, it's not really bad. Also, he runs like he's ice skating. LOL. That's why he told Bruce he does competitive ice dancing or whatever. LOL. Oh yeah, I didn't connect that. Okay. Good point. Maybe. Certainly maybe. Fred Tastic 314 says, I loved the 78 Superman Echo with Barry and the Speed Force reversing time. Overall, a really good movie, better than the other Zack Snyder BVS. Yeah, I'm going to have to now go back and watch BVS in retrospect after having and see if it's any good. Michael, you and I are on the same train on that film. I don't like that film. Yeah. I don't like the Ultimate Cut any better. But maybe after having seen this, I can see differently what he was trying to do. It might not still make it a good film in my opinion, but yeah.
I think you can see what he's trying to do. I think that especially after watching the 4-hour Justice League, you go back and you watch BVS and you see where he's going, and you understand what he's aiming for. It doesn't help some of the nonsensical stuff that happens in the movie that you're just like, I'm sorry, what? So that's that. Like out of Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Justice League. Yeah, I have my issues with each of them. Batman versus Superman is the one where the most stuff happens where you're just like, I don't even know why this is happening. And like with the others, at least stuff is tracking.
Yeah, fair enough. What do you guys? Anything more to say on that one? Anybody? No. Okay. No. All right. Let's see. Let me see if I've got this right. If that's the next one. Yeah. All right. A Better Day says, sorry if you already spoke about this, but can we talk about how utterly badass the Amazons were in this movie? Their resistance to Steppenwolf felt far more impactful in this film. Quote, we have no fear, gave me chills. Yeah, 1,000%.
It's funny you talk about that because I know McClung and I were talking. McClung did not like that moment. Like, what? He's like, what do they do? Did they rehearse it? And I was with Shannon, and Shannon's like, God damn, I want to be a fucking Amazon. Like, it was powerful. It's like those women were in that room however long. That's their job, guarding that mother box. That's how dangerous that thing is. And they have to sit there and guard it, and that they sacrifice themselves. Like, why cut that out? Like, why cut they killed themselves to protect that mother box? Like,
I like the sequence, not the line.
True. Okay.
And it is interesting, because I'll say this. This is another compliment to the movie, which is the sequence with the Amazons, the sequence under Gotham Harbor, a bunch of the sequences where it's the same action sequence.
Right.
You know, the rescue of Silas Stone and the big battle with Steppenwolf right there in the middle of the movie. Like, it's the same sequence from both movies, but it's recut and reworked. To Johnny's point, the whole save one person and then you'll know what to do is cut out. Like, and it really is that this is where Zack Snyder does shine as a director, which is the Amazons taking that mother box away from Steppenwolf, that battle, Wonder Woman going up against Steppenwolf, the battle at the end. Like, it's essentially, from a story standpoint, the exact same thing happens. But the way it's recut and redone, the action scenes they feel so much bigger, they feel so much more epic, and they're so much more impactful. That was one thing where you're just like, man, that is Zack. You can't take that away from that dude. He can kill that shit.
Okay, agreed. JRMEATXC says, how is Steppenwolf covered in sharp metal so much more expressive than the Justice League's bland-faced version? Yes.
That's the design of Steppenwolf for this, not just the changes to his form, like way more alien, like the fact that he had like 3 extra digits on his hand. And just his armor. I thought that the armor design, the fact that it's almost like a living piece of him. Yeah. So freaking cool. Like, why you would lose that for the, almost Viking-ish guy that we got. That was a confusing choice.
I don't know if it was so much lost as it was streamlined. I think that Zack has that attention to detail, and I think Joss was like, let's just get this done. We don't need to. And to the expressive part, Shannon's right. Like, there's some great moments where Steppenwolf is frustrated, and all of the little spikes sort of like undulate up as he's getting mad, and so his whole body literally is expressing his emotions in some moments, which is what makes it good. Yeah, he looks way better.
I'm sure,
and has more of a storyline. Period.
Yes, a more active storyline. Agreed. And that Trinity is another Trinity, right? DeSaad, Darkseid, and Steppenwolf. I loved everything with DeSaad.
Yeah.
Another.
Oh,
I think that's
cool.
I think that's a Game of Thrones actor as well, doing the voice.
Probably.
And then seeing Ray. Is it Ray Foster? Is that his name? Getting to voice over Darkseid.
Ray Foster, yes.
Getting to hear
Porter,
him.
Ray Porter, I'm sorry.
Ray Porter, sorry. Yes, getting to hear his delivery of the lines and all of that really come forward. And the design of Darkseid, at least for me, I don't know what you guys feel, but the design of the modern Darkseid was fucking awesome. The helmet, the whole look that we've known from the comics. Yes, Granny Goodness is in there too, but like, I think overall I liked. The Granny Goodness thing was weird because they didn't say it was her.
Right.
You don't know who I thought it was Gwendolyn Christie for a moment there, and then Michael was like,
we all know who it was. She's trying to get free health care on Apocalypse. She's busy, man.
Not easy. Trying to get them student loans overturned. All right,
Doug the Parademon's got to go to college, man.
All right, William Jones. Yeah, William Jones says you can't have a 4-hour JL movie in a theater. The movie would cost way too much and not be able to recoup the budget if it was limited screenings due to it being a 4-hour movie. Okay, again, if you're going to a multiplex, they are going to put it on multiple fucking screens, and they will. And if you open the movie theater instead of at 10 a.m., you open at 8 a.m. and you close at midnight, you are going to have enough screenings for that movie. That's that's logic.
He did the math, guys.
Goddamn right, I did the math. C. Har says, do you feel both Zack Snyder and Ray Fisher? This is a good question. Do you guys feel that Zack Snyder and Ray Fisher have been redeemed by the release of this film? Does either individual have a place in the WB going forward? My opinion is I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love it to happen, and I think Ray Fisher deserves it, and I certainly think Zack Snyder deserves it, but I don't see it happening. What do you guys think? Whoever wants to jump.
I think Ray Fisher certainly deserves it, but he has drawn a very deep line in the sand vis-a-vis Walter Hamada, which, respect the decision. Like, good for you. I do hope that as a result of more folks seeing what his role was supposed to be, that he will start to get more offers, because outside of Justice League, really, I think we only saw him in True Detective season 3, right? And that wasn't. He was a recurring player on that. Zack Snyder, I mean, they love you one day, they hate you the next, then they love you again. I wouldn't be surprised if Warner Brothers probably tried to get him back. But I am assuming he might say no. That's just my guess, though.
Yeah. Vogel, what do you think? You've been the executive in the studio.
I have a feeling that they're having this conversation right now.
Really?
I think that like the buzz around Justice League, I don't think that they were expecting it to be this well received.
Yes.
I think they were expecting to get the eyeballs and that it was going to get a lot of views and that a lot of people were going to watch it and talk about it. But I think that the overall look, I mean, I don't like Zack Snyder's movies, and I'm still telling you that there's a lot to like about this movie. I mean, like, I think that it's like it's been well received enough that they're probably struggling with this conversation, but the conversation is a lot as well. That and look, I'm not even putting a judgment call on this. His movies are darker and more heavy-handed and serious than what you want your big tentpole summer superhero movies to be if they're going to be the huge brand successes you want. Yeah. But clearly people are really responding to it way more than they responded to what Joss did. So I think they're kind of weighing all their options, weighing what they were planning on doing with Flashpoint, and weighing if these ideas that Zack had for his other two movies can fit at all within what they're planning to do. And so I don't know where they're going to land on all that. And to Shannon's point, I don't know if Zack this he did as a labor of love and had full creative control. I don't know that he wants to go back to let me go play in the Warner Brothers machine and have to like defend my choices every day. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's like wide open.
Yeah. Kalinowski, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of what Vogel said. I thought it was tomorrow morning, just being Monday, that there's some conversations happening. This is all anyone's talked about for the past year. Love it or hate it. I mean, John, you and I talk back and forth with, geez, you see who's tweeting, bitching about this movie again on Twitter. But love it or hate it, you've been talking about it. You know, I think they had a plan. I don't know. And looking forward, I don't think theatrically we'll ever see a Justice League 2 and 3, but streaming has changed everything. I think HBO needs content. It's not Disney. Disney's got, between Star Wars and Marvel alone, has got next 7-8 years of content just for Disney Plus streaming. HBO outside of this year, with their day-and-day release of the big films, doesn't have anything to look forward to in 2022 on the service. You've got to keep subscribers. Zack Snyder's Justice League continued on the streaming, and you do it by chapter for that. Now you've got the chapters. You just keep going. For me, the big question is, do the actors come back?
That's the massive question.
I think they would love to work with him because everyone loves him and has had nothing and has been all supportive of him. Every actor has been supportive of him. Their schedules. Do they want to do a streaming show? That's the issue. So I don't know. I'll never say never again after the past 3-4 years in this world with what had happened. So
that's a great point. Christian Lante says, I see some people complaining about scenes that could have been cut because they didn't advance the story, the Flash Iris scene. But in my opinion, since it's on streaming and broken in 6 parts, I think those scenes are great for developing character. I don't disagree.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think at least as far as we're talking about today, most of the discussion around scenes being cut would be if you were to take what was here and try and translate, not in Rocha's theater because he did the math, but like in other theaters, if you wanted to get it down lower, what would it be? But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the whole point of this exercise is let Snyder do what he wants and let's have all those moments in there.
Maybe you could release a 4-hour cut and the 3-hour, 15-minute cut, and you could decide which one you want to go to. I think that's possible too. All right. Chris Sanchez says, you're all aggressively good looking. No, those 3 are. I'm not. Good convos. I had a lot of fun with the movie. Just personally not a fan of the melancholic music video scenes. Way too many for my taste, but fun movie. And we addressed that. We addressed that. Oscar L says, did Diana really need to blow up the bomb terrorist, therefore destroying the entire wall? Especially when in this version they showed how fast and strong she is dealing with the bullets, etc. Why not just knock the guy out? I'm not going to lie. I felt the same way. Like, why did they go that far? But then I was like, you know what? She's an Amazon. Fuck it. Let her blow some shit up.
Rocha, we talked about it. She tried to shoot a single shot, and Diana's like, I'll give you the chance. Oh, you're going to keep going? You're going to full auto now? Now you're done. She doesn't mess around.
Yeah, now you're just a hat floating down.
Yeah, now we're gonna see what happens.
Hello, everyone. Oh, this is Leonard Kim. Says, hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I love the Geek Buddies reviews, and I'm glad you're reviewing ZACK SNYDER'S Justice League. When you get to it, could you elaborate on what the nightmare scene means? I thought it was cool, but was confused about its significance. All right, Leonard, we're going to put a pin in that because I really want to get to all these because there's so many of them. I promise we'll swing back around. I promise. Just get me through all these and we'll get it. Carol has two of them, two-part. Thank you, Carol. I'm in the same boat as Vogel with here. I'm not a fan of Snyder's movies. I hate BVS. That being said, I really, really like this version of Justice League. 30 minutes could have been shaved off. You know, I feel like the Emperor when people say that in Amadeus. It was like, just lose a few notes and it'll be great. Oh, yeah, what notes did you have in mind there, Emperor? Anyway, he goes, 30 minutes could have been shaved off. Fine. Tell me which could have been shaved off. I fell asleep twice trying to watch the first 90 minutes. 2 issues, though. The first scene with Martian Manhunter made no sense to me to use him. It should have really just been Martha. Also, I don't like that Lois was just randomly at that site when Clark came back to life. Bruce had her there for a reason in the other version. Yeah, gentlemen, the Martian Manhunter scene was a little weird with Martha. I get the point, but why do it? You know?
Yeah. Well, wait. Time out before we even talk about it.
Sure.
You get the point?
Yeah, try to get Lois to get over her grief, get back into reporting the news, get back into doing what she does, get her to be a functioning member of society again, and get past the grief. I understand that.
I understand that if it actually is Martha. But why does Martian Manhunter care about any of that?
Because but you said, or Mike Kalinowski said, he's a telepath who's been monitoring the world for a while. He knows and loves probably Lois and loves Superman and has watched this relationship from afar.
I see it as, and again,
I don't say I'm right. I'm just saying.
This is inferring. This is comic brain inferring.
Right.
Lois is the greatest reporter on the planet. She's essentially a detective. You know, when they did Leviathan. She is one of the people that's up there with the question and stuff of these people, these brains. A person like her is needed against people like Lex Luthor in this world. And these people, this evil that is out there, a person like Lois Lane is necessary to DC. Mm-hmm. And I think he's been along with her. And remember, Swanwick has been a part of Lois Lane from the beginning. He knows all about her.
Oh, right. If you watch
Man of Steel.
Right.
And he was her connection with the DOD in BVS. He knows that this woman and how deep. Remember, she was the one that uncovered the plot. And again, we go back to BVS and plot of BVS and all that. She found out about the bullet leading to Lex Luthor and got Lex Luthor enough that if they needed, evidence on him to be arrested, she's the point. So he knows her. That's what he can do. He's working behind the scenes. He doesn't want to come out and help yet because, again, he's an alien. He's doing what he can do. Okay. My 2 cents. And there's some change.
Your 2 cents and change, though, again, it requires a whole lot of knowledge from the comic book. So just taking what we're given in the movies, Swanwick in Man of Steel is a character who is aggressively trying to find out who Superman is and what his identity is. Mm-hmm. Has a satellite following him at the end of the movie that Superman has to shoot out of the sky. So
not him personally,
either his telepathy is on the fritz, or he's not using it, or he's really, really undercover. And then in BVS, he's actively kind of he does ultimately help Lois, but he doesn't at first. He kind of is really I'm not going to tell you this stuff, it's classified. So we don't really get a sense that he is, hey, I'm your guy, or I'm looking out for you. If anything, it's a more combative relationship. Even in because I literally just watched it knowing that he was going to be Martian Manhunter. And even a lot of the dialogue he has with Clark is very sort of maybe did you make this decision later? Did you not know this? Because if you knew this, a lot of this is very weird. But all that being said, Lois Lane, Superman's dead. There's other stuff going on. Martian Manhunter has no compelling reason in this movie to go to Lois and say, hey, you gotta buck up, kiddo, gotta get back out there. And certainly, given that he was trying to find Clark's identity in Man of Steel, the fact that he all of a sudden, when they never let us know in the movie that he has telepathy, I know that, and you know that, and nerds know that, but they don't let us know he has telepathy. He shows up, he knows Clark is Superman, he knows Clark well enough that he can impersonate Clark's mom and have a very deep, heartfelt, personal conversation with Lois, and then walks out and he's like, the world needs you. And I'm like, what? And even especially because I was like, I love Diane Lane. It's like my favorite thing about Man of Steel. I was like, this is a lovely scene with the two of them. And then it was like him, and I'm like, that makes no sense at all.
I had the same feeling as Vogel. I was like, oh, this is a lovely moment between Ma Kent and Lois, and then when you see those eyes flash red, it's like, wait, I feel like you're sticking it to me now. You're sticking it to me. And as far as like Lois being there, I do agree that it is a little convenient, but they did establish that she goes to that memorial every day, and she's in Metropolis. She lives in Metropolis.
Yeah. Right. She's there every day. They established
I will say, and again, to your point, I did feel a little the rug pulled out from under me because that scene is so good.
Yeah,
I did tear up that scene, and then they see it was Martian Manhunter. I'm like, yeah. I get the point of it. And again, it's a 4-hour film. We can't add a whole nother scene because people complain about the length. So we couldn't have him impersonating someone else to get her back into it. So time compression, Michael.
But why even get her back into it? Like it makes no sense for anything that he's doing, or like it that she
because the world there is no. Hold on, I got a cop car coming by, so I'm going to turn my microphone on mute.
They're coming for him. They're coming for Kalinowski.
All right.
Well, Michael, like you said, there was no Superman. Like he's trying to get all hands on deck for people that are. But
if he didn't go hand, but there's like, but wait, he clearly.
All right, we're gonna get bogged down. 20 more of these to read.
All right. I just want to say one thing. Let me just say one thing. Right. He clearly knows that Bruce is Batman because he goes there later. Yeah. If he's so all knowledgeable that he can be Martha Kent, he must know about these other heroes. If he's trying to get all hands on deck with everything, and I get that like he wanted to get this scene in the movie, so he put it in, so he was kind of hamstrung. But it was a very weird choice. That's all. Like it's like.
All right.
I get it. I agree.
Right, let's move on. Seriously, we're an hour behind these chats. I'm at 8:15 right now.
Oh boy!
So we got to get to these. Pandemanium _lady_outlaw. Okay. Said today I cut time on Zoom with my boyfriend in order to watch your review. I adore that man, but you guys are just too much fun. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Vegetable Tube says, was that Uxus or Yuxus? I don't know how you say that. Was that Uxus that fought old gods on Earth before he became Darkseid? Uxus was never mentioned in movie or credited, but my friend showed Snyder tweeting pictures of Uxus. So is that Uxus? I turn it over to the comic book knowledge.
As far as I know, that was Darkseid's father, which I thought there was talk of that, happening. But in the movie, it wasn't addressed. So that I'm not sure. That makes there it is right now. Because I was going to say this earlier. The problem I had with the film was like they find the anti-life equation on Earth. I'm like, Darkseid's like, you found it finally. I was like, you were there, dude. It was his father. That was Uxus or Oxus, however you say it. That was him. That was his father.
So maybe that was his dad.
It is.
They should have established that. They should have established
that.
Yeah.
So I'm on board.
Because a lot of people are complaining, like, you knew it was on Earth. Why didn't you go down and get it?
He did keep saying that in the build this past year, and all the stuff he would tweet out, he would hashtag that scene with Darkseid's father and stuff. So that makes 100%. I think the design should have been a little differently.
I thought.
Mike? What is this? What is this, Mike?
But DeSaad saying one line like, "Oh, just as your father found it centuries ago,
yes,
we have found the anti-life equation." Blah blah blah. That would have been that would have explained it real quick. Michael,
I thought Uxus was Darkseid.
I thought it was his father. I mean, that's confusing to me.
Michael, can you clarify?
Michael, let's go. What do you got?
I got no clarification, but this gets into the. It's all really muddy. Like we can all say, oh, well, I thought this, or he meant this, or he hashtagged this, therefore. But in what is laid out in the movie, I was just as confused as anybody because he slams the ground. There's a whole pattern that we find out later is the anti-life equation. And I was like, did you just not see it? It's the whole.
For me, that doesn't work. I'm confused.
It kind of ties right into these mother boxes are set up as this like ultimate weapon that when they combine become the Unity, and they clearly get left on Earth. They know they're on Earth, and they just leave them there for 5,000 years. Like it's like all of the stuff around. I love mother boxes, boom tubes, Apocalypse, New Gods. Like I think it's all really anti-life equation. I think it's all really cool. It's all very heady stuff, so it's hard to sort of be like, this is what it actually means. Yeah. But I think that this is where they kind of got a little carried away with things because it all doesn't make a ton of sense.
Okay.
I'm with you. I mean, I am with you guys on that because I was, and now seeing in the chat and I'm thinking about like, this is before he gets the Omega beams and the Omega power. Like all I can think of is 5,000 years ago. Everything happens in history. You forget. You know. It's not like you keep. I don't know. And it is weird to me. It is when he's like, I found the anti-life equation. So I can admit, not everything is roses for me when it comes to DC, and I look at it blindly. I'm like, yeah, that's an issue that's weird to me, and that didn't feel like. I was like, I'm confused. Yeah,
I don't disagree. All right, let's keep going here. King Kang, or unless that's King Kong, which is my faction mate. Marvel had a universe and planned over 20 movies. DC wanted to go a few movies and make their Justice League. Given that, I still love Snyder's cut of Justice League. Just wish Warner Brothers took the time and patience with their universe. Agreed, but that's spilt milk at this point now, and we all pretty much agree that that's how they should have done for sure. Liz Sub says, thank you for calling out the racists. You love to see it. Well, okay. Tushka Productions says, yeah, destroying half of a museum was a bit messed up coming from an antique curator like myself. Just he said, just throw the dude through a custom design window. That's about $1,000. Destroy the wall of a historic landmark. That's millions. Come on. What the fuck, Diana? All right. I respect that. He goes on to say, Tushka, we should get a show called Snyder Mini Cuts, and they are humorous excerpts of undeveloped moments like the 100th shot of the Parademon and Aquaman teaching Barry how to run like he is in water. LOL. All right.
I'm down for that.
Fair enough.
Cool with that. Ralph's Boner says every Snyder film, even the great ones, has moments where he just can't get out of his own way. Wonder Woman vaporized the guy in front of children when she could have easily disarmed him in a myriad of other ways. Is bad Snyder being bad Snyder? Vogel's right. Okay. All right. It's a strong boner
that.
you got. Yeah, that you do like Ralph. I never mind. All right. Teddy Holiday said, Flash caresses a total stranger while hot dogs float by her mouth. This scene is Snyder at his worst, which follows Snyder at his best with the exploding shoes. Great visuals, odd music, inconsistent tone, classic Snyder. Great improvement overall, though. All right, there we go. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Askewed_1 says, this is all too civil. I was led to believe that this would be a death match given the teases leading up to the review. You all still have earned my thumbs up on this video, though.
It's not over yet. I mean,
we still got time. Hold your horses. Philly G says, Mike, I have to know, did you rent or do you own that tux? Hope you guys had a great weekend.
I wore it special for tonight.
Kaboom. Kaboom. And Wayne Edwards says, hello, everybody. I joined the stream late. I loved Zack Snyder's Justice League. Not perfect, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. 8.5 out of 10. I'll watch this from the beginning. I'll be curious about Vogel's thoughts. LOL. You all are amazing. Thank you. All right. There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Let's see if there's anyone else on the Streamlabs side. I think I got all the Streamlabs overall. If you haven't had your Streamlab read, please let me know and I will read it. And let me jump into the super chats now. Finish those off. Oh God, Jesus Christ, where am I? Okay, here we go. This is Derek Johnson says this is an Elseworld story, but only comic fans know that. This is the Injustice story where soups and bats are a little more violent. I wish Barry's mom had been alive in this universe, would have told me what this was. Yeah, is this an Elseworld story? I don't think it was intended to be an Elseworld story, was it?
Well, I think
now.
I think that leads itself to this was his take on it. Like I try and say this to people and give them an idea of where I come from with these films. And it's like when I went in to play Injustice, the video game, it was Superman killing the Joker and becoming a dictator and a warlord and all these deaths. And I didn't walk away from that going, that's not Superman. He doesn't get it. I was like, these are the characters through a different lens and a different story. So when Snyder did his thing, it's like, yeah, Batman kills. Batman for 20 years. I was like, this is a different story. I'm seeing these characters through. Someone made a great point. They said, why are DC characters open to more different interpretations than a lot of other superheroes? When I find it, the DC's like the gods, mythology. It's characters like Sherlock Holmes, Dracula that are open to different forms of interpretation, whereas Marvel is more of us. They're the everyday humans with greatness thrust upon them, so we relate to them more. So the interpretations are not as much there as often as they are with DC, where I'm okay with them open to more interpretations of them.
Okay.
Makes sense. I see Vogel. Look at there he goes, and we're off. So
I just think that there's this constant idea that people who don't like Zack Snyder's take somehow don't like different takes on superheroes in general. And I think that for a lot of people, it's like, I'm super down for different takes on heroes. I just don't like this one.
right, sure.
And I think even with Marvel, I mean, same thing. Like, I don't like that they skipped over 20 years of good Batman stories. You don't like that they skipped over Uncle Ben in Marvel. Like, you're always like, so like, I think that like both Marvel and DC have taken liberties with heroes, have changed things around, have changed origin stories, and for some people stuff works and some people it doesn't. But I just hear it a lot where it's like, oh, you're a purist, you only like the Donner Superman, you only like happy superheroes. And it's like, I don't think that's the case with people who don't like these movies. They just don't like Snyder's aesthetic on these heroes.
And I think, but what comes in, and what I think starts a lot of the hate, the back and forth, because I've seen it, is when something happens like this comes out, Dark Superman, and then instantly people are like, they posting screenshots of the CW Superman, like, see, in 15 seconds, they got Superman more than Zack Snyder ever does. And that feels like an attack on people. It's like, okay, you might not like it, but you're attacking what I like. Like,
yeah, it's the same.
don't
It goes both ways. Yeah,
it goes both ways.
Except that I was reading that Vanity Fair article, and I know we're going to talk about the nightmare sequence in a minute once we get through the super chats. But look, because we keep oh well, it's Justice League. Now you're going to get the Superman you wanted. Like, he had to grow into it. Like, he's easing into it. He's taking his time. But knowing what this 5-movie story was going to be, we have a Man of Steel movie where Superman doesn't really know if he's connected to humanity or not, and like becomes the Clark Kent that we know in the last 5 minutes. Yeah. We have a Batman versus Superman movie where half the world thinks he's a god and worships him, and half the world thinks he's the most dangerous person in the world, including Batman and Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. We have a Justice League movie where he's dead for 3/4 of the movie, comes back, tries to kill the entire Justice League, shows up at the end to save the day, but then at the very end we get an epilogue where he's destroyed the world and is coming to kill everybody. Mm-hmm. And then we have 2 more movies where in one of them he is taken over by the anti-life equation, tries to kill everybody, and then in the final movie he becomes okay and raises a kid. So it's like
you're skipping over the 3rd movie of him coming back to life, uniting the Atlanteans, the Amazons, the humans, the Green Lanterns, and every nation of the world against the entire force of Darkseid. So back to 100%, Man of Steel, and that sounds join epic. You in the sun.
Right, but they'll join you. But what I'm saying is, so when people say, I like Superman rescuing people, and I like Superman being an inspiration, and you say, well, you're going to get there, you're going to have it. In 5 movies, if you're going to compare the percentage of inspiration time to the percentage of you're either killing people or people are scared of you. So when people say that, it's like, it's just, I think it is a valid comment to say that Zack Snyder doesn't spend as much time with Superman rescuing people or being the hero as he does with examining the other parts of Superman that he's interested in.
Okay, I really need to address it. Goblin Fractal, he said, they didn't even know the basic lore of the Black Suit Soups, so no surprise they don't know about Uxas, dudes. Dude, juggle my balls. We fucking know about Black Suit Superman. We know all about that. We know all the part. What we're saying is they didn't make sense. They didn't explain it or present it in a way that makes sense in the movie. I'm cool with you criticizing. Use your fucking head to constructively criticize. There's a difference here. So don't come at us if you don't want to become at yourself. And I think this is a ridiculous comment. And I will highlight them when they pop up in the chat. Just know that.
But Uxas is Darkseid. Okay.
But wait, here's the clarification. Derek said, Uxas is Darkseid before he emerged from the chrysalis and obtained his new form. So if he's 2 different names, then he's 2 different people in terms of the stages of his life. So Uxas could have been the old one that we saw, blah, blah, blah. And going through the chrysalis may not have retained all the memories of what he had.
I'm with John. Like, that is messy to me. And as a DC fan, I have no problem admitting when things don't work for me. And that was a point where I'm like, what? How did he not know it's there on Earth?
Yeah.
If there's story there that explains it, we didn't get it. Yeah.
And as we were just saying, Marvel does this as well. Like, they'll take things from the comics and adapt them for the movies.
They do very well.
Even if something is true in the comics and is done in a certain way, whether that be White Vision, Wanda's kids, I mean, you can go down the list.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's going to be that way in the movie. So a movie still owes an audience clarification.
Yeah. Agreed. Derek, thank you very much for your comment. Sorry if I went too far there. I'm just had my feelings about it. All right, let's see here. We've got some. We got to finish up these super chats. We can get to this nightmare sequence conversation. Let me see if I can figure out where I left off here. Yeah. Teddy Holland says, "You're my boy, Vogel, the voice of reason." There you go, Teddy Holiday. It was all caps. That's why I read it that way.
He's the voice of something.
Oh, too much pain, says LOL Vogel. You have to remember the studio didn't want a black suit, so it was filmed originally as the blue. It was changed in post after May 2020. That's why there was no acknowledgement of his black suit.
That's a great point.
That's a good point. No, and look, and I do think so. I just want to be clear about when I'm making these comments. Like, I'm not trying to like prove that Zack Snyder is some kind of asshole who did everything wrong. Right. And it is 100% true, whether it be the black suit or the weird Martha Lois Martian Manhunter scene, that he, as much money as he had to kind of expand his vision, he still had constraints. He still had things he couldn't do. Right. But when something does come out and we're all looking at it, we can say, oh, well, that's why he couldn't do it. But if you're examining something from a storytelling standpoint, as you're looking to how you want these superhero movies to be told in the future, these are still good points to know. Yeah. It doesn't mean that the black suit moment is shitty. It doesn't mean that it's not cool. And it also doesn't mean that, given the fact, as Kalinowski keeps pointing out, that he had to make choices on where he was going to spend the money and where he was going to do the reshoots, it is completely valid to say, I just really want to do the black suit for the fans, and I don't want to spend 5 minutes having Kellex come out and explain the suit. And in a normal storytelling standpoint, that would be something you'd want to do, but it is a valid point that he did have some constraints in doing this.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, the whole anti-lift equation, while I do love the idea, like, it is a baffling choice that I don't have clarification in there. So while I'm rah-rahing this movie, there are things I'm like, that's something I needed. You know?
Honest criticism, there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with honest criticism.
Chris Sanchez says Leslie Jones at Lesdog is live tweeting hashtag Snyder Cut under hashtag long ass movie, and it's hilarious. I
gotta go. I'm out.
She's gonna be talking about Momoa and Cavill for about the whole thing.
Oh yeah, probably. She's much
hysterical. She's awesome though.
It's like my girlfriend. She watched Thor for the first time over the weekend. Holy shit! It was all about Hemsworth's abs. It was
Lindley and Shannon together. Shannon's sitting next to me. Momoa does the whole ocean scene. She's like, "Oh, add another one to the bucket list. The bucket list is getting deep." And I just did one of these. My bucket list is getting deep. I'm like, settle down now. Settle down.
I gotta get on a text chain with Lindley and Shannon, talk about these abs.
Buddy, you do. You'll lose it.
You do. She's great. Let's see. Paradox Pixel says, I personally feel Amber Heard needs to be recast, but I think we can all agree that her British accent in the reshoot / nightmare scenes sucked. Listen, I don't want to, obviously the situation with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, none of us were there. Believe whatever you want to believe, whatever side you want to be on in that equation, feel free. But this is a subjective point of view here. I thought she was terrible in this nightmare shit. I absolutely agree. I thought she was good in the Zack Snyder stuff that they did with him and her and Arthur. I thought that was great. But the stuff with her in the nightmare sequence, I was like, I don't believe a word you're saying. Woof.
I'm curious because she still had the accent in the earlier scenes.
Yeah.
Which, that was their choice they made filming before they shot Aquaman.
Right.
Maybe that was a choice they didn't like, but I don't know what happened with them. I don't know what's going on. I know the film's going to get ready to be shooting soon, so I don't know. That's a
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shannon? Yeah, you want to unmute yourself?
Sorry about that. I'm not an Amber Heard fan. I mean, I think the marketing for Aquaman, I was really dreading how she was going to be in the movie, and she ended up not.
I loved her. I thought
well, I wouldn't say I loved her. I mean,
I really enjoyed her.
She wasn't terrible. That being said, what they did with her for this, especially the nightmare sequence, there are. When you're acting, not everyone can do everything, and being threatening, maybe not her strong suit.
Yeah, maybe. Mike, any feelings on it? Nope. Yes. Nope. Vogel?
No. Yeah, it's not great.
Fair enough. Agree. Fredtastic 314 says, I remember execs saying 3 months before release that Justice League was going to be cut to a 2-hour movie, which meant that it was going to be hacked to crap. Yes, that's true. Before the original one was released. Yes.
Yeah.
Noam Salayan, this is our last one for now, says, would you all be interested in Snyderverse continuing in an animated format if that's all that WB would authorize? Oh, that's a good. I mean, Shannon, you go first. You just finished all these Warner Brothers animation video or movies. So, would you want to see them do it animated?
I mean, I like that as an idea. I think the likelihood that you would get the cast back for that is pretty low. I would like to see it as a comic. I would be very curious where he was going to take his story.
Yeah, as Kalinowski was saying a few minutes ago about, having different kinds of stories and if this is just Zack's vision, I think that the challenge with doing a singular vision that is not necessarily what is more mainstream, but the bigger, wider mainstream audience wants, when you're spending millions of dollars and it's your giant summer tentpole movie, is it really does have to be a little bit of a wider appeal. Yeah. Seeing some of these darker stories, seeing stories that take the characters down really different paths in a comic book format, in some kind of publishing format, in an animated format, it's easier to recoup your investment. It's easier to be darker. It's easier to do really different things. So that could potentially be interesting.
Okay. All right. Done. And then we had a nice little comment here from Derek Johnson. Keeping you, Rocha. I love the Geek Buddies. First saw Rocha on Collider. After that, followed him. And then I got introduced to Vogel and McClung on the show. Truly love the show. They put real-time care and knowledge into the show, and I love it. We do.
Aw.
Thank you, Derek.
Yeah.
It's very I'm just an asshole.
No, I'm...
Yeah, but you're our asshole.
I think we put time in Karen's and asking you to be a part of this.
Of course, guys. Of course. Yeah, come on.
Mike is
come on. I kid.
Essential.
I kid. Come on.
Terry Blade says, all four of you are gorgeous. Vogel, you're my Geek Buddies crush. I love your brain. Oh, okay.
Aw, he loves me for my mind.
That's the first time you heard that?
Yeah. Yes, that's a first.
All right, and Tushka Production says, Uxas is Darkseid and his best friend was DeSaad. DeSaad is a crusted person who wears a hood in the comics. The evidence lines up. Juggle my balls, John Rocha. Yes, that's true. There you go.
All right.
All right. Well said. Thank you very much. Put it on a T-shirt. Derek Johnson says, A-hole. Hey, A-hole, we like you too. There you go.
Thank you. So you got your $5, guys.
There you go. Get your shine box.
Go get your shine box.
All right, let's talk about the nightmare sequence here. I think that's undeniably the worst part of the movie, in my opinion. We get Batman. Everything's been resolved, and then we get Batman, or actually Bruce Wayne, in this nightmare sequence. It's all sepia tone, dusty. We don't know what's happened. We ended really positively at the end of the movie, but somehow we're in this post-apocalyptic area. We've got Batman, we've got Mara, we've got Flash, we've got Cyborg, and then we get the Joker, which is Jared Leto coming back. And I have to tell you, I was disappointed by this. I didn't understand the point of it. I know Bruce wakes up and all of that, but like, what did you guys think of the nightmare sequence? Let's talk about it. Vogel, please.
Worst Burning Man ever.
Okay.
Oh God.
I did not love it. I will say this, like, I love in the comics when you go to some like dystopian, like the X-Men do it all the time, whatever, where you see like the 5 survivors and they're old and grizzled and like whatever. And so the concept of what they're doing, I think, is cool. I will say that, as I was saying before, I'm not, having read about where Zack wanted to go, and Lois, is seeing the pregnancy test in her drawer when she pulls out her press pass, and knowing the whole Lois and Bruce romance, and Lois was going to have a baby, and then Bruce, like everything that kind of leads up to it that the Joker is kind of talking about, knowing that kind of paints my opinion on this whole nightmare sequence, which is like, do not like. Like, I don't like the whole concept of it. I don't like the direction where it goes. I think it's all kind of silly, but I'm like, I'm kind of like, okay, I get that this is part of his vision. I'm on board for it. And then Jared Leto shows up and starts doing his business. And man, I gotta say, I believe he got a shitty shake in Suicide Squad. I know he did a lot of scenes that got cut and he felt shitty about it. And I know that Zack Snyder was like, this Joker and this Batman never got to be together, so I'm gonna do it. And I get all the reasons for it, but like, I don't know if it was because he was given a lot of dialogue that was very I'm going to talk about stuff that nobody really understood, and maybe that was part of it. Ooh. But I found him really not compelling. Like, they made such a big deal out of this is like the Joker is going to be like the ghost of Christmas future, and he's going to kind of be like talking to Bruce about his psyche and whatever. And I just felt like it just all fell super flat to me. I was like, this is like a bad one-act play at Florida State University. Like, this is like, I am like, ooh, get me out of here.
Kalinowski, what did you think about the nightmare sequence, brother?
I clearly don't have the problem that Vogel had with it. Like, for me, I'm not a Joker guy. Like, if I never see another film with Batman and there's no Joker and he never ever shows up in a Batman film, I am 100% fine with this. I think I get it. He's the yin to his yang. I totally see that. I, like Vogel, know of where the story of 2 and 3 goes because of what's been out there, and Zack Snyder has posted his thoughts, and it's on storyboards with Jim Lee. I'm on board for that. Like, I cannot wait for that. I love the ragtag group of people that you normally don't see together. You know, Deathstroke and Batman working together, and having known that we would have got a film with the two of them, you know, and then we would have seen them working together. So that's a story that, you know, and it can be inferred and whatnot. So I don't have a problem with that. What I love about this film, and which would have been 2 and 3, for me, this film, and everyone says like it ends on a down note where they save the day and now he's this dream. This is New Hope for me, where yes, they destroyed the Death Star, everything's happy, but
all right. When he comes back, we'll keep going. Shannon,
my plan worked.
Shannon, you want to pick up here?
Yeah, I'll make it quick. Wasn't a fan. Mohawked Manianello. I was like, oh, that's fun. But I rewatched it over the last few days. I watched a chapter here, a chapter there, and my HBO Max kept acting up when I tried to get to the epilogue. It literally would not let me. So I only saw it the one time. Yeah, at that point, I don't see the point in teasing something that's not more than likely not going to happen. And I thought it was kind of like a bit of a downer to end on. I'm like, oh, we had this incredible experience, and it ends sort of like with a wet fart.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you there. Sorry, Shane, you have to dance around the logo. Maybe we can do this for now. We'll
he just said his internet is resetting.
Okay, when it resets, we'll bring Kalinowski back in for sure. But yeah, I mean, this would have, it felt like, and I get it, because he had said, look, it ends on a cliffhanger, and certainly it does end on a cliffhanger from this nightmare sequence. But I was expecting something more. We didn't get the "We live in a society" unless I missed it. Did you? Right?
No, he didn't say it.
Do you think they edited it only for the trailer to fuck with the fans, but then took it out of the movie? Or do you think the fans' reaction to it made Zack go back in and edit that part out of their exchange? What do you think?
I feel like they put it in the trailer just to fuck with everybody.
Okay.
Honestly. I'm like...
All right, fair. All right, fair point. Let's see here. Anything more to say about it? Because I think it was the only part that I didn't like. I was like, I get it, but it earned my forgiveness of it because I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. But when we got to that, I was just like, okay, all right.
It was the second worst part for me. We haven't talked about the first yet.
Okay, go. Let me see here. Orlando Orego says, I wonder if they could have an editor complete the movie. Why couldn't an editor finish the movie for the studio? Rocha agree. A 4-hour movie can play in theaters. Kalinowski, my man. Hashtag DC Movie News. Orlando, I will put it up again when Kalinowski comes back. Trust me. Shannon, what is the worst part of the movie for you?
Are we going to keep talking about the characters because it has to do with my my guy?
Okay.
Is it the Scandinavian song?
Let's do it. All right, we're on to let's do Aquaman, Superman, then wrap up and get on the hell out of here because we've already been going for 2.5 hours. So goddamn. All right, go ahead, Shannon.
So, I'm an Aquaman fan. I'm I was a big fan of Momoa. I like what Momoa has done. I thought he was really, really great in the movie. I loved this dynamic that they set up with him and the Flash. I thought it was fantastic. When the Flash, tripped him, and then like after in the attack in the park, and he just gives him this finger. I was like, oh, that's such a great moment. And then you get to see the heart of Arthur Curry, like when he's asking about Cyborg, a guy that he vocally basically said, like, maybe you're not so reliable. Maybe we shouldn't trust you. And then when Flash says, "I thought you didn't care," and he's like, "I never said that." Like he's the only one that checked up on Cyborg after Silas died, and I thought that spoke very highly of how they wrote the character. That moment at the end of the scene where he basically tells Bruce, I'm not your guy. Strongest man is strongest alone. The Scandinavian sea nymphs who pick up his sweater and sniff it and do this 1 minute song. That was not the best way to start it for me. I was like, oh God, I hate this part, but loved him.
Okay.
May I counter? Well, you're talking Aquaman, right?
Yes.
Let me just counterpoint to McClung's with his point there, because I've seen a lot of people kind of go at this scene. And for me personally, I was like, oh boy, this is weird. But, indigenous people and indigenous to the lands have been praising deities forever since the beginning of time. It seemed like that's natural. And then I kind of got into it with Twitter people like, okay, I don't know about this and this. And I go, well, let's take a look at the past 4 years of this country with people praising and singing to a god that they think is a god. And can't tell me if a certain politician took his shirt off on stage and threw it to a crowd, that those people wouldn't be smelling and putting it up in their house. It's true, though. So these people, it was a weird scene to laugh, but it's not wrong. And that is societies of people all over the world that are like that.
What did it add, though?
The mythology of Aquaman.
The mythology, these people survive because of this man. He brings them food. They survive on the times of the year that they can't survive. He is the epitome of a deity to them.
Yeah. Sometimes your American perspective can be, it's a cultural thing, possibly.
It is very cultural.
And these people, to them, singing a song to a guy who has fed them, saved them, kept them functioning as a city or as a small village, it is an honor, right? I mean, you're trying to act like these are people living in a metropolis. Perhaps to them, it's a little more of a simpler approach to the world, and they're singing to a god, and Aquaman is in essence a god, to thank him for what he's done, and that's their honor and respect. We go to church, go to temple, whatever your religion is, you're singing a hymn to a god for longer than a minute and a half for sure, and you're eating the body, which is the bread, which is supposed to be his body, and drinking the wine, which is supposed to be the blood of Christ. Like, we got our own traditions too that could be like, this is weird. So I'm just saying, create space for the cultural differences.
Our country and the hero worship that we have, and it's not far off.
I'm saying nothing about the culture. I'm saying what did it do for the movie, and I think that was a wasted minute. I think the moment he leaves, scene over.
But I can't separate the culture from what it does to the movie. Michael, I'm sorry, Vogel, go ahead.
I think that I get that. Again, Zack Snyder is very interested in these heroes are gods, and I think that he's made that real clear. I think that I like the idea that they look at him reverently. I like the idea that they have a song for Aquaman. I like the idea that she really wants to smell that sweater, because who doesn't want to smell Jason Momoa's sweater? I get it.
Yeah.
But I do think, to Shannon's point, again, you got all this stuff you want to fit in your movie. You could have Bruce watch them sing that song for 20 seconds, 15 seconds, have her smell the thing, they all kneel down, and you would go, oh, wow, they look at him as a deity. That's really interesting. And Bruce observes that, and he's like, that's really interesting. And you cut out. You probably didn't need the full song.
Okay. That's a fair criticism. I think there's nothing wrong with it. If you have an issue with the fact that they even sang the song, I think that's where my pushback would come. But the fact that it was too long, that I can respect.
I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to listen to it tonight. I'm going to listen to it tonight before I go to sleep.
Thinking about Arthur Curry?
With smelling a sweater.
Here's Mark Sloan again. It did nothing for the movie. Sounded awful. It didn't make sense. This all goes back to his love of Ayn Rand BS. But that's you putting that into the movie, Mark. That's you putting that into the movie. You don't fucking know that that's part of it.
Fountainhead is in the movie. I mean, he makes a Fountainhead reference in the movie. It's on the cover of Zack Snyder put Ayn Rand into the movie, not Mark Sloan.
Fine, but singing, I don't think where is it in the Fountainhead that they sit by the beachside of a god and sing him a hymn for 2 hours? I don't see that. All right, Frank Contreras says, I love the nightmare sequence. It lines up with the BBS and Cyborg's nightmare visions. Barry is wearing the same costume. JL movie in that TL fight me. Okay.
In that timeline, fight me. Yeah, I agree. Just to remember a point that I'm sorry that Michael Vogel didn't want to hear what I said and cut out my internet.
It worked. It worked.
Justice League, I feel, is like New Hope. It ends. We beat the bad guy, but there's still the bad guys out there. Sets up Empire, which would have been the next film. Justice League 3, Return of the Jedi. There we go. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, it ends in a cliffhanger because this was supposed to lead to the next few films, but he's not going to. But he thought he'd put it in anyway.
Now, do you guys
just to show you what he was going to?
And you are. I mean, it is, and it does. Hold on. I do want to hear what you have to say, but I do want to just say it absolutely does. Like you do see it, and knowing the weird Barry moment in Batman versus Superman, Bruce's dream, Cyborg's vision, like. It does all track. Like I understand what it's setting up, and I understand that it all hits together. I just felt the scene itself was kind of like, meh.
Okay.
Now, do you guys feel if this would have been released theatrically, back in the day, that this epilogue wouldn't have been there? I feel this was kind of like, I don't know if I'm ever coming back. I owe it to the fans. He even said he's like, I can't do this film and not have Batman and Joker together. Yeah, like I did this for the fans. So I think to take it away, like just know that
I think it was. I think that's true. I think that you would have had, if you really think about it, you would have had in Batman versus Superman, Barry shows up and says Lois is the key. Yeah. And in this movie, you would have had Cyborg's vision, right, when he's with the mother box, and you would have had Batman saying to Diana, he's like, I had this vision once. I don't know what that was. I think this is a weird thing. And that would have been all you, and that would have, thank you. And that would have been all you would have gotten about it. And then we would have seen these trailers for the next Justice League movie, and they'd all be out at Burning Man, and you'd be like, oh shit, what's going on? And that would have been what it would have been.
Good point.
Shannon, any thoughts before we move on?
On the nightmare sequence? No, I think we covered it.
Okay. Tavin Smith says, hi, I just joined. Oh, are you in for a doozy, pal? I will watch I will watch the whole thing afterwards. Did you all talk about the extra scenes at the end with Joker and Martian Manhunter? Well, we certainly talked the Joker stuff now if you've been listening, Taryn. But the Martian Manhunter, let's swing back around to that. I kind of like that sequence. And like Michael said earlier, Vogel said earlier, that's the best we've seen Ben Affleck look. He steps out and he has that great conversation with the Martian Manhunter. He says, well, we need you. So that's exciting. I'm like, where's the next movie? I'm in. But yeah, what did you guys think? Did you like seeing that end sequence and the look of Martian Manhunter live action?
Yeah, I thought that design was fantastic. Yeah, and I don't know if Harry Lennix is going to be coming back as Martian Manhunter in any of the future DC films. I would love to see him again because he looked really cool, and he is such a great John Jones voice.
Yeah. And what's interesting is because going back to the Snyder Cut for the past year, he wanted that to be Jon Stewart and the Lantern to come in. And WB said, hey, we've been giving you everything you want. We've got plans for the Lanterns. Please don't use him. And
you motherfuckers.
Off.
God, that was supposed to be Jeff Johns again. Jeff Johns again.
And my thing is like, why not Hal Jordan? But I get a bunch of white dudes then. I get Jon Stewart. I do, and I love that the fact that a generation of DC fans found the love of Lantern through Jon Stewart in the Justice League Unlimited show. That's their Green Lantern. So I can't fault that. Do I want a redo of Hal Jordan from what we got? Absolutely, but the story for another time. And there's comics and cartoons of Hal out there that I can enjoy.
Sure, Michael.
I thought this. I mean, as far as Martian, I get that for this scene to be effective, you need to see Martian Manhunter somewhere earlier in the movie. Yeah, I wish we had seen him somewhere else, but I thought that this was a really nice scene. I thought it was nice. You know, that it gives the hint between him and, if you know comic books, the mention of Ryan Choi working in nanotechnology and stuff. You get the idea as they walk in and say we need to have more chairs for more people at this table. You see the beginnings of that, and I think that's a nice moment. I think the two things that I would just say as like my caveats to that: one, it really does seem like Bruce Wayne being Batman and Clark Kent being Superman is the worst kept secret in this universe because every fucking person seems to know it. And I get that John Jones is a telepath. It's not that he knows it that bugs me. It's that Bruce Wayne, who has worked so hard to keep this a secret identity for 20 years, seems to give two shits that an alien shows up and says, hey, Batman, what's up? Like,
don't you feel that at this point in his reaction, Ben Affleck's kind of got this exasperated, like, okay, cool, who are you? Okay, we'll need you. His world is done. Batman's world of being alone in the shadows is over. He is now like,
but I do think that would be
a table with gods and monsters and aliens. This is who I am now.
But I do think that's fun dialogue. Like him being like him saying something like,
That's fair.
you know, I've really tried to keep this thing a secret for a while, but then never had a green guy fly in front of my building. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm telepathic. And he's like, well, can't argue that. You know, like there's a fun back and forth that could have happened there that would have been really cute and would have been like, oh, okay, so I get it. That being said, like those are like my little nitpicks, but I thought this was a really lovely scene, and the promise of new heroes and him flying off at the end. I was like, yeah, this works for me. It's nice.
I agree with you, especially because John Johns is never like he's never like the leader of Superman or Batman. Certainly,
Right.
he's vital. So Ben Affleck or Bruce Wayne could have had an interaction with him where he makes a little shot at Martian Manhunter to kind of reestablish a little bit of supremacy, even though they're ball busting. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that could have worked actually really well. Chris Sanchez says, we're not saying they shouldn't be singing. We're saying we hated the singing. I feel like you are saying they shouldn't be singing if you hated the singing.
Good point. All right, fair
all
enough.
right, Chris.
I'll give you that.
I like this is the good take on it. It's like, listen, if you think he's a god, sing all you want. Just don't sing that fucking song. Like, I'm like, you know what? It's a valid statement.
I will say this. I went and bought the soundtrack the night it came out, and then the first song is "Song of the Siren," I think it's called. And in my head, I'm like, oh, it's that Aquaman song. Maybe I won't use that when I burn the CD. And I was like, yeah.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's the Flash song. Okay, I'll keep it there. I think the song is. I think the whole moment's weird. Anytime I see people praising to something, I think that's weird anywhere in society. That's not me. I'm just like, well, that's your thing you want to do? Okay, I'm not going to do that. You want to spill a goat and its blood and rub it all over your body? Knock yourself out. Teach them. I'm going to go have a Big Mac. See ya.
I'm not gonna send you my sweater that I was about to put in the mail tomorrow morning.
I'll smell anything you send me.
There we go. Well, must be time to almost end this review. Here we go. But I will say this: anybody listening, if we ever do a Geek Buddies live show in your town, please feel free to sing, to show up and sing us a song. We would love it.
I'd love it.
Cinefina and Beyond says Fountainhead is very close to what happened to Snyder with WB. 2, the epilogue was in the original, but shot to be Jon Stewart. WB once again said F you. Yeah, they didn't say F you. They just said,
no, I mean, you got to
don't use it. We got other things. Yeah.
They have a Justice League, Green Lantern show at HBO that's very far along that, clearly is going to be impacted with Stewart. So that I 100% see the reasoning for that.
Yeah. Claudio Rogojin says this movie was good, but it doesn't rectify the assault that was Batman v Superman.
To each their own.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Terrence Smith just sent a little bit. Thank you, Terrence. Very kind of you. And let me see. We've got any more super chats. Aaron Kleiter. Thank you, Aaron Klister. Very kind donation. Said, just got done watching the Snyder Cut, and I think I went through a half a box of tissues because I was crying out of such joy and wonder. He brought my favorite comic book team to life. He made me fall in love with Superman and Wonder Woman again. So damn good. So there you go. So
there you go.
I give it up to Aaron with his opinions and his point of view. Certainly, a lot of people spoke about how emotional the movie made them and what have you. All right, let's wrap up by talking about Superman. Unless there's anything else you guys want to bring up, but Superman is the last character we haven't discussed, and I thought it was great to see Henry Cavill do more with the character. Be more a part of this. The black suit actually worked for me. The Martha Kent moment. Jesus Christ, the Martha Kent moment fucking broke me, man. My girlfriend walked in. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, okay. The sun in the background and
that music,
the music, all of it just fucking decimated me. And I also love the fact that Lois was in there to calm him down, not used by Batman to calm him down. Like she came in on her own to kind of stop him. I thought the scene worked even better the way they put it in this movie where he's attacking the Justice League. And I felt like there was less of the cyborg and the Kryptonian technology message. Like I thought there was a lot less of that. So I enjoyed that overall. And it made me even more sad that we're not going to get Henry Cavill being Superman again anytime soon. Vogel, you're the Superman guy again. What did you think overall about how they handled Superman and everything involved with him?
I don't want to get yelled at. I don't prefer the way Zack Snyder does Superman. I get that a lot of people love it, and a lot of people who genuinely love Superman as much as I do love it. And so it's completely like a different vibe. To me, it's like I just keep waiting and waiting for him to be the charming hero. I will say I get why Zack Snyder wanted to, from Man of Steel all the way to now, explore the alien side of Clark, the alien immigrant, the outsider who isn't quite sure if he's going to be like. I get all of that, and I do admit that I think throughout Superman's history we probably do tend to fall on the big blue Boy Scout side of it more often. But I feel like it's like this was almost an overcorrection. And like I was saying earlier, in this 5-movie arc, we see a lot of Superman being dangerous, a lot of Superman trying to kill everybody else, a lot of how destructive Superman can be, and less of him being the inspiration. We're told a lot. Like Barry says, he's my inspiration. And in Batman vs. Superman, there's a lot of he's inspiring. But we're not shown it as much. We're shown a lot of Henry Cavill looking very, very conflicted and flying off and not knowing what to do.
Right.
And I think that, so for me, honestly, and this is going to sound kind of shitty, but like I think one of the reasons Justice League is my favorite out of them is because there's the least of him in it. And I think that once he does show up at the end, like, and I do think that once he does come in to save the day at the end, when he shows up and like blocks Steppenwolf and like freeze breaths the axe and then like knocks the shit out of him, like I'm like, yeah, that's my fucking Superman. Like, Zack Snyder knows how to use him as you are a force of nature, you are a god, you are this powerful. And that's wonderful to see. And I think that's super cool. I just miss the humanity. I do agree, like on the Lois front, I do like that she wasn't used as like a tool for Bruce and that she happened to be there. I think on the Lois Lane front of it all, as sort of the mirror to Superman, I feel like in these 3 movies, she's used pretty much as you're here to make Superman feel human and we don't have much else use for you otherwise. That's kind of what your job is. And so I feel like we don't actually get a lot of Lois being Lois either. So out of the 2 of them, I think that I get that other people love their relationship in this movie, and that's super cool. For me, Superman and Lois being 2 of my faves, I feel like they're not serviced in the way that I would love to see them serviced. And that's where I land on it. But I think the Superman action at the end when he joins the team is great.
Okay. Shannon?
Yeah, Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel themes, the actual Superman theme and the Krypton theme, the Kryptonian theme, when the team gets on the ship. I love that music so much. And it's even better thinking about when they're talking about resurrecting Superman, when that music comes in and you see the image of Superman flying. I really liked what Cavill did in the movie. I love that we didn't have to deal with the weird CGI mouth and the Haymaker Heat Vision combo that he was given to Steppenwolf at the end was so immensely satisfying.
Oh yeah.
God, I don't know I don't think they've said whether or not Cavill's going to be in the JJ Superman. That the betting sense seems to be that he isn't.
Yeah.
But God, I hope he's not done. I would really like to see the Superman that Vogel talked about. I would love to see Cavill get a swing at that.
Yep. Agreed. Go ahead, McClung.
Yeah, I think, and I want to say I remembered Snyder saying this before WB went to him and saying we want another film with Batman versus Superman. Like, I think he wanted a Man of Steel 2 before Batman Superman. And
yes,
I think
he did.
That could have been so much better to see him just being Superman.
Yep.
And I think that, but again, we're past that. And at this point, like, I love when he comes back and the jokes are gone. Once he takes care of the league, he sees Batman and he's just like, you're the one that did this to me. And he doesn't joke with him. He goes for the kill. And I love, and I'm a fan, I'll admit, like you guys know this, I love the Martha moment in BVS. I love that. As corny as it is, but then like Rocha, you brought up a brilliant point about the Trinities, Lois, Bruce, and Clark. And she comes in between them. And it's the flip of that scene in BVS with the 2 of them where she's stopping him from killing Batman. Because he was going to kill him. He was done. And then they fly away. And then they go to the Kent farm. And he looks out the window. And you see the swing from Man of Steel. And the butterfly on his hand, like about being reborn. And then where he says, he's like, you see Martha. And he's like, I have to leave you. He doesn't say this, but he's like, he's like, I have to leave you. They brought me here for a reason. I have to find out what this is. So when he does show up, Steppenwolf is like, that's the reason he's back. He's not there to throw jokes. He's not there. You brought me back because you like me. You don't like me. Like, he's there to kill this man and take him out. And that's why he's there. We'll talk later, but let's do this business. And then that scene of all of them on the bridge with, Wonder Woman. And what you see the difference between Whedon, where Wonder Woman flipped over Steppenwolf and cut his axe that Superman frozen in the Whedonverse. That same shot utilized how it was originally to lop his head off.
Oh my
and
God.
they put that in his foot, and they're looking at the boom tube in there, and they're basically like, nope, don't come here. You're not welcome here. That shot of them as the League was awesome and earned. It was earned.
That was a Flashpoint moment. Wonder Woman cutting his fucking head off and
awesome.
going right through the portal.
So earned.
I loved it. All right, this super chat came up while you were gone, Mike. I wanted to give you some love from my man Orlando Rego said, "I wonder if they could have an editor complete the studio. Why couldn't the editor finish the movie for the studio?" Rocha, agree. For our movie could play in theaters. Kalinowski, my man. Hashtag DC movie news.
My man.
He's giving you some love there. All right, let's power through these things real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Which is here we go. Terrence Smith says, "Where do you rank this in DC movies of all time? For me, this might be the second best DC movie of all time because of the characters, story, and the stakes they have." I mean, Man of Steel is still 1 or 2 for me, but this is 3 probably, and maybe climbing higher depending on how many times I watch it. Gentlemen, I throw it to you. Where do you put this in your DC movies of all time? Mike
Vogel?
Yeah, Vogel, go ahead.
Well, if we're just doing like the modern era of DC movies, it's closer to the top. If we're doing all DC movies of all time, I'm probably putting, at least Dark Knight, 1989 Batman. Like there's other things that go higher up. But as far as the modern take, I think Wonder Woman is probably my favorite of the modern DC movies. I would then say Joker is up there for me. And then you're probably getting close to like Justice League being closer to the top.
Okay. Shannon, where do you put it?
Yeah, if we're talking DC movies of all time, I would say it just misses the top 5. And current movies, I would say it's probably 3 or 4.
Okay.
DC films of all time, it's definitely oh God, I have to look at all of them again. But you got Batman Begins, 89. It's up there. Wonder Woman. But then if you look at just kind of DCE, the more recent, Wonder Woman, I think will always be my top 1. It just nothing's come close yet to that. And this right now, I think I've got like Birds or Shazam at 2. I think I have Shazam at 2. Like this is easy top 5, but might be like you, Rocha, 3 and could climb. Yeah, and that's off seeing it 4 times now, so it could climb to 2. It's not going to take. It's not taking Wonder Woman. It's not going to take Wonder Woman, but
dude, if I didn't have a fucking match, I'd have watched this thing 2 more times this weekend.
There you go.
Studying for that match.
You got priorities, Bal. You got priorities.
I know. But after that match, win or lose all weekend. I'm watching it next weekend. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Christopher Atkinson, says, "Does Arthur's musk overwhelm the smell of the sea? Is that why she had to sniff his chest panties? Love the movie. Love you guys." Jesus Christ.
Whoa. Arthur's musk is the smell of the sea.
And Mara does comment in Aquaman that he stinks. And that's under the water.
Yeah, there you go. Fair points.
Also, hashtag chest panties. Yeah,
I know,
chest
right?
panties. I love it.
That's a good one. Give it some love. Also, for those of you who are watching, we still have 800 of you watching us right now, but only 578 likes. I say only in comparison to how many watching. If you haven't given us a thumbs up, you've been enjoying us this long, please give this thing a thumbs up. If you're watching it later, give it a thumbs up as well. Yeah. Okay, Mike.
Give it, boys. Give it.
Do it. Give it. Sinfinity and Beyond says, "I think when Clark sees Lois at Heroes Park, he sees through her like he did the League X-ray vision. He saw the baby inside her stopping his rage." Oh,
I don't know about that. I think.
I mean, I don't know. He's been dead 18 months. That's not his baby.
He's been dead that long?
Don't they say 18 months to me?
No, because that's 18 months between Man of Steel and BVS. But I know originally they did want it. Clark or Bruce and Lois were gonna have a baby. That I don't think is gone anymore, because at the end when they get the house, Bruce goes, "By the way, congratulations."
Right.
So that was like Zach cut that potential storyline because if they do go forward 2 and 3, they can't do the Lois and Bruce anymore because this Justice League did not show them in that relationship.
Right.
So, but yeah, he knows.
All right.
Yeah. So
maybe that's his
you
baby.
wouldn't have liked. He fixed.
Maybe that's his baby. Well, he fixed something I wouldn't have liked because he wasn't allowed to do it. But okay, I'll give it to him.
I'd rather see Batman and Wonder Woman than Batman and Lois. All
right. I guess someone said in the chat. I guess this does mean that that bathtub scene in Batman versus Superman was pretty important.
Yes, it was.
Some sensuality.
Please stop giving Superman kids. Just let him exist. Lawrence Skea says, I feel this cut validates Chris Terrio as phenomenal. Seems like he's gotten a bad rap in recent years between Justice League and the rise of Skywalker.
Look, I mean, didn't he win the Academy Award for Argo?
He did Argo.
And you can knock that film for its historical inaccuracy, but the film itself is still very well written and very tightly constructed.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Elliot Goldenthal did, or not Elliot Goldenthal,
Akiva Goldsman.
Akiva Goldsmith did Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, but he also did A Beautiful Mind. Yeah. So there you go.
Okay. All right.
I
agree. Mike, anything for Vogel? No. Stereo?
I will say it's really hard to say. Getting a movie of this caliber across the finish line, period, is a Herculean task, and none of us know what the first draft of these things were and how many drafts they went through and who else came in to do things. It's really hard from the outside looking in to be like, this one person is responsible for all the things that I love or all the things that I hate.
Right. Good point. Orlando Rego says, for me, I like Man of Steel, but WB should have done Man of Steel 2 before BVS. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
I do think like even a lot of my issues, had there been a whole other movie where Superman was just being Superman, it maybe I'd be in a different place today.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I think, and then people are still clamoring. They want Cavill as a Man of Steel. They're not saying recast him. They just want him as a Man of Steel. Put him against Brainiac. Yeah.
I think it would work. Claudio Rogajan says, I like that they actually made Flash useful this time. Right. Because Joss Whedon sees just comic relief.
I don't know. He had that great brunch bit.
I don't even remember what he did in the final. He pushed the family away.
Yeah, in the truck.
That's right. Okay, that's right. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Dostoevsky. Claudio Rogajan says, why does Mara have a British accent in this? I don't know. Talk to Amber Heard. Maybe that was her.
Was it a British accent?
Yeah, true.
Good point. Only thing I could think of back then, they're thinking like she's royalty. She's trying to pull a Princess Leia type thing where they were mixing these weird accents and like trying to do like a non-standard something. But
even Nicole Kidman doesn't have an accent. Yeah,
well, I think if it had stayed in the cut, then we probably would have gotten English accents at Mara and Aquaman.
But they had to refilm all her stuff when Whedon came out. So did he go knock the accent off its crap?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Okay,
it's probably exactly how he said it. I'll give everything we know. And
I don't take any lip from women.
Hashtag Joss Whedon. There we go. All right. Terrence Smith says, do you God damn it. Do you think
never going to work in this town again?
Do you think more movies will come out of longer cuts after Justice League? Like they said, there is a 4-hour cut of Black Panther. I see all these websites and these clickbaiting headlines of writers who are trying to legitimize their salary on these websites going like, this is the end of film. The fans are in too much control of the studios.
Oh, God.
Get the fuck out of here. The studios are going to do what they do. And this is such an anomaly. If they release the Ayer cut and then you see the Lord Miller cut and then you see the original Rogue One cut, then maybe you've got a pattern. But this is such an unusual confluence of events. This is probably never going to happen again. But I will say this. If it makes studio executives hesitate to put their fucking pocketbooks ahead of creativity, then I'm all about that if it at least has that side effect. Michael, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Of course.
But I do think it's not. Well, let me put it a different way. Studios are never going to put their pocketbooks in behind creativity, but I do think that they may think twice and go, maybe even though I don't think this is good, this person knows what they're talking about, and I should put my money behind it. If that makes sense. Like, okay. I think that what you're seeing here is that sometimes a singular vision is the thing that people are going to respond to, and I think that whether that be Lord and Miller's singular vision on what they would have done with Solo, or Snyder's vision on Justice League, or whatever, is once. And I think the other part of it is once you're down a road, and this is something Marvel does really well and DC does not, and I include the Snyder stuff in this, is Marvel, once they're going down a road, they're going to go down the road. Like Thor 2 is a shitty movie. Thor 3 is very different tonally than Thor 2. We all love Thor 3. And we're excited about Thor 4. Like, Marvel just keeps, if maybe something didn't work, maybe there was a stumble, take what was working with it, retool some stuff, keep going. And I think that DC didn't do that, and looking at the response to Zack Snyder's Justice League, even though I don't love every single piece of it, you gotta say, you know what, maybe you should have got him off this nightmare scenario, maybe you should have convinced him to go in a different direction, but maybe you should have just kept going.
Yeah. I think that's the thing at the end of the day. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. I got 4-hour cut of Black Panther. I'm kind of good with what we got.
But on the other hand, Rocha, this kind of thing, I mean, yes, it's a precedent and whatnot, but I mean, how many years we doing the different cuts of Blade Runner?
It's five different cuts of Blade Runner.
Yeah, so it's like, maybe it's just because social media, we're in a quarantine, we don't really have, like, it is a once in a lifetime kind of thing, this whole thing of getting it going, but a director's cut is not something new per se.
Right. Director's cut are not new.
Right.
Yeah.
The difference is, and this is where I think we won't see all those other things, is the director's cuts aren't new as far as we took the footage that existed and we recut it in a different way and we released our version of it, our take on it. This is such a specific, a big director was taken off a movie halfway through because of tragedy, because he didn't want to fight anymore. Another big director who had directed the other big superhero movie came in.
Yeah, you're right.
Did his thing on it. Like, it's such a specific. Like, it's if the studio takes a director off a movie and says, "Hey, like, we're gonna fix some shit here," I think we're gonna see not a lot of those cuts. This was just really specific.
Yeah,
agreed. Chris Atkins says, I like Martha scene as well. Martha is an uncommon name these days. Bruce only knows one Martha. Clark only knows one Martha. Defend Pa Kent later. Fair.
Okay.
I'll always defend the Pa Kent scene in Man of Steel. You can't talk me out of that scene. That scene is
I'll back you on that one.
Man, that scene is fucking great. Let's see. Oh, yeah. We had one more here. Oh, no. We already talked about it where we ranked the movie. And we have no more Streamlabs. Yes. All right. I think we're fucking done. Any final words? I know everybody's girlfriends and boyfriends are waiting to talk to them. So any final words as we wrap up here that you didn't get a chance to say about the movie before we end this spoiler review? Let's start with you, Mr. Vogel, please.
Better than the other one. A lot of really good stuff in it. Makes me respect the Snyder Universe a little bit more, while at the same time confirming all the things that I don't love about the Snyder Universe.
Yeah. All right. Good points. Mr. McClung?
Yeah. I mean, this is a potentially once in a lifetime type event. No matter what you thought of the Justice League theatrical cut, I mean, you should watch this movie. Maybe don't do it all in one sitting, maybe break it up, but you should absolutely watch this movie because just, again, as an experiment, this is absolutely fascinating, and more than likely there will be several sequences. If you don't connect to the entire movie, you will connect to certain sequences because there is some brilliant filmmaking that happens.
Okay. Mr. Kalinowski?
First, I want to say that this panel surprised the hell out of me. It really did. I didn't know what I was going to be in for. I thought I'd be taking my shirt off sweating. But I love to see what I'm loving to see from people. And I had to preface this from people because you guys know me as a DC guy. Like, you know, I'm not a Snyder bro. I don't. There is a toxic group that is out there that has thought that got behind people that anyone didn't want to believe in this for years, and there is and Snyder himself has spoken out against these people. Like it's not toxicity. This is something to celebrate. That's what I try to do, and I thank you for having me on here. It's like to celebrate this moment of like this is pretty awesome. This is a pretty awesome, and the fact that I love people coming to us saying like, "Hey, I didn't think it ever existed. I didn't want to think it. I ate my words. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. You know, hey, but if you didn't, move on. There's 50 million other hours of content out there. Just move on and don't hate on people that do like it. Don't sit there and, you know, everyone likes their own thing. Yeah. And if it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. And there's nothing wrong. And that's why I love Vogel. And we talk about this all the time. It's just his take on Superman, not your cup of tea. Not your cup of tea. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just what it is.
Yeah,
it's like you're Wonder Woman making your tea, and I'm sitting there going, "Let me make this for you." Well, you're gonna don't mash the tea, don't burn it, this and that. Like, I got it, Mike. I got it. Sit your ass down.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Mom, sit your ass down.
Mom.
I will say this. I was so pleasantly surprised and emotionally moved by the film. It touched me on so many levels. I've been waiting for a film to just enjoy and sit back and really savor in quite some time. And it worked for me. It really did. Yes. Are there a couple of moments I'm like, oh, why is that in there? Or what's this, with the singing? Sure. It made me a little bit, but not enough to take away from the overall enjoyment I had with the film. And I really think Zack Snyder needs to be applauded here for what he was able to do, to persevere, to fight, to take advantage of a situation. I don't mean in a negative way. I mean in a positive way, to restore his vision of what he wanted this film to be. He walked the highest of tightropes to make this happen. It could have all come crashing down at any moment, but it feels like he had, at least in his mind, a purity of a desire to do something, to finally bring something to the fans who enjoyed his point of view, his perspective, his approach to these characters in the world of superheroes. So I think for that, he should be absolutely applauded, because not a lot of filmmakers would have had the gumption, the strength, or the stones to keep persevering throughout, that there was a cut, there was something better that people could enjoy. And the fact that the cut came out and is overwhelmingly being enjoyed more than it's being derided, that means it was all worth it, and he was right in his mind, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's an incredible film. It's a gorgeous film. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But for all the people going after the fans who do like it, to make fun of them with their snark and all their shit, you're the same people begging those fans to follow you and watch your content and support you and everything you do. Stop shitting on the fucking fans. They don't deserve it. If the fans are being assholes, that's a separate situation.
Absolutely.
If you're snarking on them to snark them, for you to feel superior and then begging them to patronize you, you're a jerk, and you're doing it all wrong. Male or female, you're doing it all
Johnny
wrong.
will make you juggle his balls or whatever it was you said.
Oh, there it is. That's it.
Well said, John. Well said.
It's not a tea bag, it's a Rocha bag. All right, anyway.
John, you bring up a point, like how well he handled the like you said, the tightrope. Like, he was never lashing out like, hey, finally WB's let me do what I want to do. Like, he was very much like, it's all about the film. It's about the film and my actors, and we're going to get it out to the fans.
He played nice, and he played respectfully.
He did the whole time when he didn't have to. In that Vanity Fair article, when he talks about those two people WB put on set, he never once spoke derisively to them or about them. And he said they had some good points, and they didn't have some good points, and I took what I needed. So all of that, in the end, much praise to Zack Snyder. Whether you like the film or not, as a filmmaker, you got to respect the stones he had to see this thing through. All right, we're out of here. Thank you all so much for the Streamlabs Super Chats.
What a night.
But most of all, thank you very much for watching us and for liking the video. Please do like the video. Give it that thumbs up. If you're watching us later and you've gone through this 3-hour and 15-minute review, please leave a comment down below. And also, please share this on your social media and tell people about this, and maybe they'll come aboard and enjoy the Geek Buddies show overall. Mikey,
share it in chapters, though. Share it in chapters. Don't share it all at once. Chapters.
You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth.
Look, we love everything John said. Look, we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. As you can tell, look, we welcome all opinions here. Part of what Geek Buddies is all about is we don't want to be part of a toxic fandom. We don't want to be part of those toxic fans that are going to shit all over you just because you disagree. We all disagree on here. We have very different opinions about this movie. We have moments some of us liked, some of us hated. We love to talk about it and break down why it is. And we like that you guys are on board for that. So in the comments below when you're commenting, don't shit all over each other. Like, be cool. It's cool if you liked it. It's cool if you hated it. And leave comments. We love hearing what you guys have to say. Like this video. Subscribe to Johnny's Outlaw page. Retweet this video. Share this video. Send it to your friends. Definitely send it in chapters. It's a lot to take in. And thank you for being part of the Geek Buddies community.
Yep. And Shannon, what do we have to tell them as well?
Yeah, if you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's @geek_buddies, on Instagram @the_geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's @Shannon_McClung, on Instagram @ShannonTheGeekBuddy. If you would like to follow Mr. Vogel, it is @MK2, and if you would like to follow Mr. Rocha, it is @TheRocha6.
And a big, hearty, massive thank you to Michael Kalinowski for being a part of the Geek Buddies review tonight. If you enjoyed our interactions with Kalinowski, please keep watching our spoiler reviews for Falcon and Winter Soldier over the next 5 weeks. But Michael, until then, Mr. Kalinowski, where can they find you and everything you got going on, my friend?
Guys, at Mike Kalinowski on Twitter, like the boys said, I am honored to be joining them. We already got some fireworks going on the first episode with us in there, and it's only going to get better. I love talking with the guys. I love that we give the fans they always hear about our Comic-Con road trips, and this is it live and in person like this. So this is the best to join you guys to DC. I love this night. The 3 hours, McClung breaking down with us. I love it. John Rocha and I, kindred spirits, and I love this film. And Vogel, I'll still smell your musk there, fish stick.
There we go. There we go.
There it is. I'll stick my nose right in there.
And Vegetable Tube, the Falcon and Winter Soldier review is already up for episode 1, so you can go and enjoy that if you haven't had enough of us for 3 hours and 15 minutes. And yes, please subscribe to my page because I've got so much content coming up, and we're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by June/July. That's the goal. We're at 16,400. If you haven't subscribed, trust me, subscribe. There's going to be a lot of content, a lot more with these guys as well being here on the channel. So please come aboard. Much love to all of you. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Practice social distancing. Wear your mask. And come back and see us when we do another episode here of The
Geek Buddies.
Hey!